Chapter 959. Star Attraction Technique. In the face of the elite soldiers of the Blackwood race, Hitorigami race, and the mechanical race, Xia Ping was not in a hurry. He took a step forward and displayed the supreme technique he had obtained from the Stars sect, Star Attraction Technique. This was not only a cultivation technique, but it was also an extremely powerful battle technique. He had fused this cultivation technique with the pure young immortal art, allowing him to unleash an incredible power. Rumble, at this moment, the whole sky seemed to dim, as if it had fallen into the night. Countless flickering stars appeared in the sky. With Xia Ping's body as the center, an extremely terrifying suction was produced. Like the nucleus of a star, it drew the energy of countless stars in the sky. The stars in the sky seemed to fall at this moment. However, these were not ordinary stars. They were the sun stars that contain the essence of the sun. They were surrounded by terrifying flames and emitted an extremely hot aura. After reaching the seventh heaven of Supreme Power Realm, Xia Ping was more comfortable with using Gang Qi and could control more star energy. In just an instant, hundreds of sun stars fell from the sky, covering an area. Damn, what the hell is this? This is a bit against the rules. He can actually attract the power of the stars. What is the origin of this human? Abnormal. This human is too abnormal. It doesn't make sense at all. The elite soldiers of the Blackwood race, Hitorigami race, and the mechanical race were all stunned. Originally, they planned to chase after Xia Ping aggressively and kill him. Who would have thought that the stars falling from the sky would cause a natural disaster? In the face of such a natural disaster, how could ordinary creatures resist it? But now, even if they wanted to dodge, it was impossible because the speed at which these stars fell was so fast that they could not react. Immediately, hundreds of stars fell, just like meteorites hitting the ground, carrying extremely terrifying collision energy. The airflow was repelled, forming a vacuum area. Bang, bang. In an instant, hundreds of holes appeared on the ground, which were smashed by the stars. Each hole was hundreds of meters in diameter. The scene was amazing, just like the surface of the moon. The earth trembled, and the shock waves spread out for 5 kilometers. Trees and boulders were all reduced to dust. The mountains shook, and the earth quaked. In fact, some of the smaller mountains in the distance looked like they were going to collapse. On the ground, Hei Mu, Hitorigami, and the machine race were in a miserable state. They bore the brunt of the attack and were immediately smashed into smithereens by the stars in the sky. Their bodies exploded, and they died tragically. Some didn't die, but they were burned to death by the flames on the stars. They turned into fireballs, and after a few breaths, they were burned into charcoal. Damn it, is he still human? The monsters lurking around the forest, waiting for Xia Ping's orders, including the Cyan Luan, the Crow of Misfortune, Tu Linglong, and the Metal Tiger, were all stunned. According to the original plan, they would first wait for Xia Ping to test the strength of these demons. If they were weak, everyone would swarm forward and capture all of them. They would then torture them and force out information. If his strength was extraordinary, with Xia Ping's speed, he could easily escape and everyone could retreat. But now, what was going on? It was just a test, and this guy attacked and beat them half to death and half crippled. He was being unreasonable. The Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters suddenly felt that they were a burden and were purely here to watch the show. Corinne, who was staying in the Smart Brain, was speechless when he saw this scene. This indigenous human has not practiced star guiding art for a long time, but he can actually fuse star guiding art with other cultivation techniques and increase the power by several times. This could no longer be described as a genius, he was simply an evildoer. He had seen many disciples recruited by the Myriad Stars sect before, and there was no lack of geniuses among them. After all, they were the disciples of the sage, but he had never seen such an extraordinary one. Not to mention that this kid was purely self-taught and had no master to teach him. This was even more abnormal. What are you waiting for? Let's go together and tie them all up. Xia Ping used this move and attacked most of the monsters until they were half dead. He stood with his hands behind his back and didn't plan to continue attacking. Instead, he ordered the other monsters to attack. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Hearing this, Cyan Luan, Crow of Misfortune, Metal Tiger, and other monsters immediately rushed out of the jungle and surrounded the soldiers of the three major races. Despicable, why is there an ambush? Shameless human, aren't you going to fight with fewer people? Why are you calling for helpers? Lowly human, if you have the guts, tell these helpers to leave, and we will fight again. The monsters of the three major races were already severely injured by Xia Ping's star-guiding art. Their breathing was weak, and the three captains were almost unable to speak. Now, this kid actually had helpers, and their number was almost no less than theirs. How could they fight like this? This was no longer a battle but a one-sided massacre. Fuck you, when you bullied Big Brother Xia, why didn't you talk about Jianghu morality? Now that you are at a disadvantage, you want to talk about Jianghu morality. You want us to leave and fight again? Why don't you kill yourselves and cry for injustice? Stop talking nonsense, let's beat them up first. They chased us before, and we were miserable enough. Don't kill them. It's best if they are still breathing. We still have to torture them later. The Crow of Misfortune and the other demons shouted. They were extremely ruthless in their attacks against the demons of the three major races. They specifically aimed for their vitals and showed no mercy. Bang, bang, bang. The elite soldiers of the Blackwood race, Machine race, and Hitorigami race were immediately beaten up. From head to toe, almost every vulnerable part of their bodies was hit, and they were beaten until they were on the verge of death. They still had the strength to curse before, but now they could not even make a sound. Big Brother, are you satisfied? The Crow of Misfortune came forward and flattered. Half an hour later, all the monsters of the three major races were beaten to the point of death. Their hands and feet were tied tightly, and they could hardly move. Not bad. Xia Ping touched his chin and said, but don't kill them. I am very interested in the plan of the five major races. It seems to be very dangerous. You have to find out quickly. He had been lying in ambush beside these aliens and heard the conversation of the three captains. He knew that the five major races seemed to be carrying out a dangerous plan. Once it was successful, the demon race of the Cloud Realm would be in danger of extinction. Don't worry, Big Brother. We will definitely find out about this. We will not miss anything. The Crow of Misfortune and other monsters were murderous. After all, the plan of the five major races was aimed at the demon race. Chapter 960. Half an hour later, the Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters came to Xia Ping's side with serious expressions. What's wrong? Did you get any news? Xia Ping asked. The Crow of Misfortune nodded. After a round of torture, although they were reluctant at first, a few of them couldn't stand the torture and confessed some things. They are building the ancestral altar. At this point, its expression suddenly became serious and it couldn't help but clench its fists. Ancestral altar? Xia Ping blinked, indicating that he didn't know what it meant. The so-called ancestral altar, as the name suggests, is an altar to worship the ancestors. The Crow of Misfortune explained, but this kind of altar is not only used to worship the ancestors, but most importantly, it has the function of blood connection. They can contact each other through the ancestral altar and resonate with each other, no matter how far away they are. It indicated that the monster race also had a similar method. By building the ancestral altar, they could contact the same tribes scattered in all corners of the world. Moreover, this kind of communication could not be stopped at all. It was an extremely advanced method of communication, more powerful than electromagnetic, radio, and other means of communication. However, it was not easy to build an ancestral altar. First, a lot of precious materials were needed. Second, enough race blood was needed, and the power of faith accumulated over a long period of time. When these three factors were added together, a successful ancestral altar could be built. Once it was successful, the ancestral altar could contact the ancestral altars scattered in all corners of the universe and even communicate with each other. Big Brother Xia, we must stop this. Yes, once the five races successfully build the ancestral altar, we will be finished. Indeed, if they contact their race companions in the universe and let those companions go to Cloud Realm, how can we resist? According to the records of the Wanyao Mountain, the 5 great clans are considered extremely powerful in the universe. Even when the Cloud World was at its peak, the 5 great clans were afraid of them, let alone the Wanyao mountain that has already declined. It is simply impossible to resist the invasion of the 5 great clans. The Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters looked very solemn. They all knew the seriousness of this matter. If it was not handled well, they might really die. No one knew how powerful the 5 races were in the universe. Perhaps they could casually send an army to wipe out all living beings in the Cloud Realm dozens of times over. Hearing this, Xia Ping's eyes also revealed a trace of cold light. If the companions of the 5 clans really came from the universe, then it would not only be a matter of the Wanyao Mountain, but also a matter of the creatures of the entire Cloud Realm. After all, he couldn't guess what the 5 races were thinking. Even if the main culprit that caused the creatures of the 5 great races to be imprisoned in the cage was the Wanyao Mountain, who knew whether or not they would vent their anger on the humans? Even if they didn't vent their anger on him, would they want to occupy this mysterious land in the universe after seeing the existence of the Cloud Realm? In this way, a serious conflict with the humans was inevitable. This ancestral altar, where were they built? Xia Ping asked. The Crow of Misfortune immediately said, "It's at the peak of the tallest mountain in this secret realm. This mountain is called Ancient Turtle Mountain. It's 13,000 meters tall." It said that the altar was usually built on the top of the mountain. That place had a wide field of vision, and there was nothing blocking it. At the same time, it gathered rich qi of heaven and earth, and could also receive the power of the stars in the sky. It was an excellent place to build an altar. Then what are we waiting for? Go and destroy that altar immediately. Xia Ping immediately said. Things like this that could threaten the peace and safety of the humans would be destroyed immediately. He would never give the other party a chance to make a big mistake. We also want to destroy it, but according to these monsters, the altar is heavily guarded, and there are even King Realm Monster Kings around. If we dare to destroy it, we will die. Metal Tiger said helplessly, indicating that there were Monster Kings around the altar. They really wanted to go and destroy that damn altar immediately, but the existence of Monster Kings made them retreat. After all, Monster King realm cultivators were too powerful. For small monsters like them who were only at the Master Realm, if they dared to enter the altar built by the other party, they would definitely be killed, and even their souls would be destroyed. Monster Kings? Xia Ping clenched his fists. Cultivators of this level were much more powerful than Master Realm cultivators. They were simply 2 different levels of existence and could not be mentioned in the same breath. If he did not rely on the power of the super spaceship and the power of technology, he could only run away in the face of such a terrifying expert. Now that Xia Ping did not have a spaceship with him, it was very difficult to fight against a Monster King. Not to mention that there was not only one Monster King among the 5 major races. There might be more than 5, or even more. Haha, do you know fear now? Hearing these words, Hitorigami said proudly, "We are about to finish building the altar, and soon we will be able to contact our companions in the depths of the universe. When the army comes, none of you can escape. I advise you to surrender now. Don't continue to resist stubbornly. Release us, provide us with good food and drink, and treat us like your ancestors. When our companions in the depths of the universe arrive, you may still have a chance to live and be our slaves. Otherwise, you will definitely die without a burial place, never to be reincarnated." It was arrogant as if it had Xia Ping and the others under its control. Xia Ping made a move and knocked out the Hitorigami team leader with a punch. His head was red and swollen. "Imprison all these monsters," Xia Ping ordered. "Imprison?" The Green Luan raised a doubt. "I heard that the metal machinery race has a mysterious electromagnetic wave connection between them. If they are placed beside us, I'm afraid they will discover us and expose our location." She felt that once their location was exposed to the 5 major races, they might really be wiped out by the Great Army. Therefore, she hoped to kill all the captives of the 3 major races to prevent future troubles. Damn, a woman's heart is the most vicious. Hearing these words, the captives of the Blackwood race, Hitorigami race, and Machinery race all cursed in their hearts. Their faces turned green. If Xia Ping really listened to this bitch, wouldn't they all be dead? Chapter 961. Human, don't listen to this bitch. Her heart is black even if you dig it out. She's very vicious. A drought crow soldier hurriedly shouted. He hoped that Xia Ping would be wise and not listen to the pillow talk of this treacherous concubine. This was basically a harem interfering in politics. The consequences were rather severe. That's right. Leave us here. We're very useful. A Blackwood soldier wailed. That's right. We robots don't have that so-called mysterious connection at all. This is just a rumor. The robot soldiers expressed that they were very obedient and had no way of communicating with other robot soldiers. They all hoped that Xia Ping would think twice. Don't worry. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly, I won't kill you. A good person like me is hard to find in this world. He put on a look as if he was a good person. Human, thank you. Thank you so much. I knew humans were good creatures, unlike these demons. They're all cunning and evil. They're no different from their ancestors. All of them are so bad that they're oozing pus. The creatures of the three major races all said gratefully. They lashed out at the demons and gritted their teeth. Clearly, they hated Xia Ping to the core and had a blood feud with him. However, they also hated Xia Ping to the core. Once their companions came, they would definitely capture this human and tear him to pieces to vent their hatred for being captured and humiliated. However, on the surface, they were still submissive, as if they had been completely suppressed by Xia Ping. Hearing this, the Crow of Misfortune and the other demons were all infuriated. They wanted nothing more than to beat up the creatures of the three major races and teach them a lesson. You're too polite. There's no need to be so polite here. Xia Ping waved his hand. You're still very useful. Men, lock them up. Yes, lock them up in this cave. Also, hide these nuclear bombs around the cave. If other demons come to help, take the opportunity to press the button and destroy them all in one fell swoop. He took out a lot of miniature nuclear bombs from his body, which were stored in his spatial ring. After all, he always kept quite a number of such conventional weapons. Once he used them, he would immediately buy them to replenish them. After all, this amount of money was nothing to Xia Ping. What? Upon hearing these words, the creatures of the Blackwood race, Hitorigami race, and the machine race were all dumbfounded. Fuck his grandpa. No wonder this bastard human was so polite to them and even said that he wouldn't kill them. It turned out that he was planning to use them as bait to attract more of his companions and kill them all at once. Bastard, this human was even more vicious than that female demon. He was 100 times more vicious. They were basically in cahoots with each other. To think that they thought this human was good and had some humanity. Now that they saw it, they really wanted to slap themselves. They had actually praised this human who knew how many times. It was really too embarrassing. Yes, Big Brother Xia. When the Crows of Misfortune and the other demons heard that, their eyes lit up. Without needing Xia Ping's instructions, they went forward one by one, captured the demons, and placed them in the cave. At the same time, they also took the miniature nuclear bombs that Xia Ping handed over and placed them in various corners of the cave to maximize their power. Once they exploded, they would be able to send the monsters flying and none of them would be able to escape. Bitch, let us go. Let us go immediately. A Blackwood demon struggled and shouted. Demon human, you actually want to use us as bait to attract your companions. Why is your heart so black? What grudge do we have with you? Our companions will never be fooled. You should give up on this idea. Hurry up and let us go. Otherwise, when our plan succeeds, all of you will die. You will die. Do you understand? The demons of the three major races all shouted crazily. Gag their mouths. It's very noisy. Xia Ping said lazily. Yes, Big Brother Xia. The Crows of Misfortune and the other demons nodded and moved in a flurry. They stuffed their smelly socks directly into the mouths of the demons, blocking their mouths so that they could no longer speak nonsense. This demon. Tu Ling Long was dumbfounded. If they were clearly here for the trial, how did this abominable human carry so many miniature nuclear bombs with him? How could he let them live? What made her blush the most was that in addition to carrying nuclear bombs, This beast actually brought 2 sets of maid costumes. Oh my god, what is this human thinking? Does he have any shame? An hour later, Xia Ping and the others returned to the original secret cave. As for the captured demons of the 3 major races, they stayed in another place. If any demons came to rescue them, the demons lying in ambush in that place would immediately detonate the miniature nuclear bombs, killing all the demons and reducing the enemy's strength. This is a little troublesome. Xia Ping touched his chin. The plan just now was just child's play. Even if they killed some demons, it would not help the overall situation. The most important thing now was to stop the construction of the ancestor altar of the 5 major races. Once the plan of the 5 major races succeeded, the entire human race in the Cloud Realm would be in danger. At that time, this group of cruel alien army would press on the border. Who knew how many people would be killed or injured? Perhaps the entire human race in the Cloud Realm would be enslaved. The problem was that it was very difficult to destroy the ancestor altar of the 5 major races. The other party still had king-level cultivators guarding that place. If they rashly went there, they would simply be courting death. It seems that I have to enhance my strength as soon as possible. Otherwise, I won't be able to destroy the plan of the 5 major races. A sense of urgency surged in Xia Ping's heart. He wanted to enhance his strength as soon as possible. Although the strength of the 7th heaven of Supreme Power Realm was considered good, there was still a certain gap compared with the king-level cultivators. However, he had just advanced, and his martial arts foundation had not been completely stabilized. It was still difficult for him to advance again. He had to spend a lot of time honing his martial arts skills and stabilizing his martial arts foundation in order to make a breakthrough. Time? I still lack time. Xia Ping clenched his fists. Stupid. At this time, Corinne suddenly jumped out and reprimanded. Since you realize this, why don't you log on to the Universe Virtual Network? Isn't the existence of this thing to assist your cultivation? The Universe Virtual Network. Hearing this, Xia Ping's eyes suddenly lit up. It was true. 10 days in the virtual network was equivalent to 1 day in the real world. Moreover, there was not much difference between cultivating in the virtual network and cultivating in the real world. Chapter 962. Xia Ping stayed in a cave and got into a closed-door training state. Then, he used the AI to log into the Universe Virtual Network. Even in this secret world, there was no way to stop him from logging into the virtual network. There was still a good signal. In the next second, his figure appeared in the novice village of the Martial Path space. It was the same square as last time, and the surroundings were incomparably wide. At this time, there were many little boys and little Lolas around the square. They were punching with vigor, displaying extremely exquisite moves. Every punch and kick produced a whistling sound. The power of the fists was endless and extremely shocking. From afar, they looked like little beasts in human form. After so many days, those who wanted to find trouble with Xia Ping had left one after another. After all, they couldn't just stay here and guard this place. They had their own things to do. If Xia Ping didn't appear for a year, wouldn't they have to wait here for a year? Therefore, when this group of people saw that Xia Ping didn't appear for such a long time, they thought that Xia Ping had already absconded with the money. Therefore, they didn't send anyone to stay here and let this group of children re-enter the virtual network to receive training in the novice village. Look, that aboriginal big brother is here. Suddenly, a little lowly in the crowd saw Xia Ping appear in this place and immediately shouted loudly. It really is the aboriginal big brother. He appeared again. Don't go near him. My mom said that he's a big liar. Yeah, my sister also said that the aboriginal is a super liar. Good children must not go near him or they will definitely be cheated of all their money. Previously, because of this liar aboriginal, my mom beat me up. My butt hurts. She even said that the Wang family had such a stupid child. Many children looked at Xia Ping in fear, as if they were looking at a plague. All of them retreated and stopped their morning training. Hello everyone. Xia Ping walked up and greeted the many children. Not good, we are not good at all. Liar aboriginal, hurry up and return our hard-earned money. The little Lolis Yijia rushed up angrily. She puffed up her cheeks and put her hands on her hips. Her big eyes were watery. Who told you I'm a liar? Xia Ping revealed a look of being wronged. My sister said so. The little lowly Yijia said with her hands on her waist. I heard it from my father. I heard it from my mother. My brother said it. The little boys and Lolis answered obediently. Xia Ping nodded and asked, Then I want to ask, are the words of your sister, your father, your mother, and your brother always right? This. The little lowly Yijia was stunned and she did not know what to say. Many little Lolis and young boys were dumbfounded. That's right, are the words of their parents and sisters always correct? If it's not right, could it be wrong? The little lowly Yijia revealed a confused expression. Xia Ping asked, Why must what they say be correct? I'll give you an example. Have you ever been forced to eat food you don't like? Have you ever been forced to wake up early every morning? Have you ever been forced to learn martial arts seriously? Did you think it was the right thing to do then? He looked at the many children. Yes, I was once forced to eat green peppers. I obviously don't like to eat green peppers, but the bad mother always forced me to eat it, saying that it is good for the body. A little boy said angrily. That's right, me too. I obviously want to sleep in every morning, but I'm always forced to wake up. It's too much. As a child, I have dark circles under my eyes. A little lowly also agreed with this point. That's right, that's right. They also said that we children should go to bed early every day, and they never let us play until late. They also limited the time we can watch TV, but they watch TV until late. This is simply a double standard. Why can adults do whatever they want? A group of children protested. Their faces were filled with anger. So, now you know that what they said might not be true. Xia Ping spread out his hands. Truth be told, if you don't like to eat green peppers, then don't eat them. What's wrong with being picky about food? It's fine as long as you eat your fill. If you want to sleep in, then sleep in. If you don't get enough sleep, how can you attend class seriously and study properly? When the time comes, you will still doze off in class, affecting your learning efficiency. So, you are the right thing to do and your parents are the wrong thing to do. Hearing this, the group of children came to a sudden realization. They looked at Xia Ping as if they were looking at a confidant. Big brother native, I feel that what you said makes a lot of sense. What you've said has really struck a chord in my heart. Those bad parents don't understand our feelings at all. Only you do. Native big brother, you are simply a talent. You speak so well. I like being with you the most. The group of little kids looked at Xia Ping with admiration. They felt that Xia Ping was a roundworm in their hearts and knew everything. To be honest, I'm not criticizing your parents. I'm just making a suggestion. Their education has long been outdated. This era has been tens of thousands of years old. It's rotten and disappointing. This way, you will move forward in the wrong life. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and sighed to the sky. But it doesn't matter. You are still young. You can still turn around in time. I can give you some guidance in life, which will benefit you a lot. The group of children did not say anything. They looked at Xia Ping eagerly, hoping to benefit from it. Humans are creatures. As long as they are serious, they can do anything. Xia Ping said carelessly, Of course, it doesn't matter if you can't do it because it's not your fault at all. It's the fault of this society. Anyway, just push all the responsibility to society. It's all its fault. You are not wrong. When you encounter something annoying, difficult, or hesitant, just run away. Running away is not a shameful thing. It's just a strategic retreat. At this time, running away is victory. Reaping without sowing is the right thing. What's wrong with daydreaming? What's wrong with sitting back and enjoying the fruits of others' labor? There are good things like meat pies falling from the sky. Just accept it with peace of mind. In short, you just have to remember one thing. It will never be us who are wrong. It's the fault of this society and the fault of this universe. Push the responsibility to them and we can be relaxed forever. This is the law of ease in life. After learning it, you will definitely benefit a lot in the future. Chapter 963. I'm not the one at fault, but the world? That makes sense. I'm suddenly enlightened. Indeed, I'm not at fault at all. It's all the world's fault. When I think about it this way, my mood suddenly becomes much more relaxed. Amazing! No matter what I do, I can use this rule of life. I feel that my whole body is relaxed and my mood is very happy. The group of children looked at Xia Ping with admiration. They felt that this rule of life was too amazing. It was simply right in their hearts. They believed that if they used this rule of life frequently in the future, their lives would become even more relaxed. You're too polite. You don't have to be too grateful to me. This is just some insignificant advice from me as a senior in life. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, revealing the demeanor of an expert. "Oh right, I still have something to do. I won't disturb your morning training." He wanted to go to the lecture hall to accept a mission and hone his martial arts skills. After all, this was the purpose of his trip to the virtual space. He wanted to break through to a higher realm as soon as possible. "Hey, native big brother, take care. Since native big brother has something to do, we won't disturb you." The group of children waved at Xia Ping. All of them were very obedient and sensible. Xia Ping nodded and turned to leave. He walked toward the lecture hall, his figure quickly disappearing in front of the children. Strange, did we forget something? Didn't we ask native big brother for his hard-earned money? Seeing Xia Ping leave, the little lowly Yijia said with a face full of doubt. She felt that they had been tricked by that native brother again. How could they have forgotten to ask for money from him in the middle of their conversation? "Don't worry. We lent this money to the native big brother anyway." "That's right. This is just pocket money. We get a lot of it every year." "That's right. The native big brother is not a liar at all. His words are nice and reasonable. If only he could be our teacher. He would definitely make us sleep in during class and be late for class. Unfortunately, those teachers are all very old-fashioned and unreasonable. They are too hateful. They only know how to bully us children. Previously, I was late for class and was punished to stand. Oh no, we're going to class soon. Hurry up and go offline." The group of children was in a mess. They hurriedly went offline because they were going to be late for class. Soon, the little lowly Yijia went offline and returned home. Then, she ran to the living room and happily ate breakfast. "Jia, how are your studies recently?" Her elder sister, Yimeng Yao, asked from the side. Her expression was elegant, noble, and generous. Her body emitted the temperament of a noble young lady, which was pleasing to the eye. It was obvious that she had received a good education. She elegantly tore a piece of bread into pieces, feeling very happy, just like a lark outside the window. "It's all right." Yijia nodded obediently. Then she recalled something. "By the way, big sister, just now, I met that aboriginal big brother again in the martial Dao space." "What?" Hearing this, Yimeng Yao was shocked and quickly asked, "Jia, you didn't get scammed by that swindler, did you? Are there any missing organs in your body?" She was very nervous. More than a month had passed, and the swindler should have absconded with the money. She had planned to put a national warrant for the swindler, but she did not expect that he would dare to appear again. He had even come to his sister's side. This scoundrel liar was simply like a haunting ghost. If he didn't lie to a child, this scoundrel liar would feel uncomfortable all over. Her originally happy and relaxed mood had now disappeared in an instant. We weren't cheated of money. Instead, he taught us a lot of life principles. Yijia said excitedly. Then, she narrated what happened this morning in full detail. Life principles? The more she heard her sister's words, the darker Yi Mingyao's face became. In the end, her face was as black as charcoal. "Bitch!" Yi Mingyao cursed. She was so angry that she almost died. This was a bullshit life principle. It was clearly a wastrel principle. If she really did what this scoundrel liar did, there was no doubt that her sister would become a wastrel in life. She would often stay at home and live off her parents. When she encountered something, she would escape and say that it was not her fault, but the fault of the society. If this wasn't the society's wastrel, what was it? Was there anyone who taught people like this? Moreover, he wanted to reap without sowing. He was daydreaming. He wanted to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. This showed that this scoundrel wanted to become a wastrel. He was a typical social parasite. It would have been fine if she was a wastrel. But the problem was that this scoundrel wanted to make her sister a wastrel. This was absolutely intolerable. Before, it was just to cheat money. Now, he wanted to make her sister fall. This scoundrel had become even worse. Was he not willing to become an ordinary liar? Sister, where is that scoundrel? Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. Without a doubt, if that Wu Wuti appeared here, she would definitely pounce on him and strangle him to death. Then she would save him, strangle him to death, and save him again. She would do this a few times and make him wish he was dead. Yi Jiajia blinked her big eyes. Sister, that native big brother isn't a liar. He taught me a lot of things. I think what he said makes sense. It was over. This time, her sister had been completely brainwashed. If this continued, it would be terrible. Thinking about how her sister would be influenced by this scoundrel in the future, staying at home all day playing games, watching TV, and watching anime. She didn't want to go out of her room and became a squat at home. If she had no money, she would ask her family for money. She didn't work either. When she encountered problems, she would escape. When she encountered setbacks, she would say that it was the fault of society. She didn't know how to reflect on herself. Yi Mengyao felt that her head was getting bigger and her future was bleak. This scoundrel harmed others and herself. He actually began to spread his evil thoughts and affect the next generation of outstanding young people. This scoundrel deserved to be killed. Before, he was just scamming money. Now, he was actually scamming hearts. Hee. Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. Sister, go to class and study hard. Leave this matter to me. In short, I will make that native suffer. He actually dares to appear. He wants to cause trouble the moment he appears. He even wants to harm my cute, kind, and smart sister. He wants to make her fall and become a wastrel. This damn native is really bold. Her entire body emitted a black aura. She was filled with resentment like a ghost. Cold wind blew around her, showing her terrifying killing intent. Chapter 964. Yi Mengyao immediately spread the news, letting all the great families know that Wu Wuti, the liar, had appeared again. Furthermore, he was trying to turn the descendants of the great families into good-for-nothings and spread extremely evil ideas. She hoped that the great families would be vigilant and not let this guy succeed. What? That liar Wu Wuti has appeared again? Damn it, he really has guts. Didn't he learn his lesson last time? Lesson my ass. It was clearly him who taught us a lesson. How could he have learned his lesson? Damn it, it really is like that. This time, we must let that kid taste the power of our great families. Immediately mobilize a large number of people and enter the novice village. Beat that kid up so badly that he doesn't dare to show his face again. Yes, beat him up every time we see him. Don't be polite. Many people from the various clans were gnashing their teeth in anger. They had thought that the brat had already left with his tail between his legs and absconded with the money. They didn't expect that he would still dare to appear so brazenly. He was really too bold. He was simply looking down on all the great clans. If they didn't teach that kid a lesson this time, what face would they have left? Therefore, the great families immediately contacted their subordinates and sent some of their elites in. At the same time, they arranged a perfect plan. This time, they had to stop Wu Wuti and teach him a lesson. At this moment, many of Yi Mengyao's sisters also heard the news in her chat group. Scumbag. After hearing Yi Mengyao's words, one of her sisters immediately cursed, "Bullshit, life is easy. I've never seen such a useless person, giving up when things happen, trying to shirk responsibility. If everyone did this, would there still be elites in our human race? Would there still be geniuses? This kind of thinking is really too useless. If it were to spread, who knows how many young people would be poisoned? This is a mental crow, self-deception. That Wu Wuti is simply a super piece of work." She was very angry and hated Wu Wuti. She felt that this guy was extremely dangerous. Ordinary liars only swindled money. At most, they would lose a portion of their money. Some people would learn from their mistakes and rein in before it was too late. Next time, they would basically not fall for it. But this bastard, if he lied, he would lie for a lifetime. He was extremely dangerous. I have a cousin in my family. She had a bright future, but she suddenly fell in love with watching TV, watching anime, and playing games. She stayed at home all day and didn't go out or practice martial arts. Now she's a homebody, living off her parents all day. She even said that as long as there's a virtual network, it's fine even if she doesn't need to go out. She also orders takeout from home. After eating and sleeping all day, I'm no different from a pig. My weight has also increased by dozens of kilograms. A woman in white gritted her teeth and said, after teaching her a little lesson, she said that it wasn't her fault, but the fault of the society. It was the society that made her like this. She wouldn't listen no matter what I said. She had already turned from a genius girl into a complete loser. Her parents were extremely disappointed in her and didn't care about her anymore. Previously, I was wondering why she became like this. Maybe she was bewitched by this despicable Wu-Woody. Who knows how many promising young people he has corrupted behind her back. He's simply a cancer in the universe. She was filled with righteous indignation as she spoke of the examples that had happened around her. It can't be. Your family's cousin is like this. My family's cousin has also become like this. He was a bright and cute young man, but now he's become a fat homebody. He even said that he doesn't like realistic girls. Oh my God, some of the young people in my family have become like this too. They're all mysterious all day and only appear at night. Could it be that this isn't an isolated case, but a widespread example that has become a problem in society? How many young people has this bastard used this evil idea to poison, making them abandon themselves and give up their superior lives? When did our family fall into his hands? Maybe this guy isn't just a swindler at all. He might even be the leader of an evil religion. He came to the novice village to corrupt the children and develop believers. The so-called swindling money is just one of his ways to make money. Damn it, this Wu-Woody deserves to be punished. Bastard, he won't even let the children off. A group of girls chattered. They were all incomparably angry. They didn't think that there would be such a dangerous person in the world. If they didn't stop it, it might become a crisis that would flood the entire universe, causing the decline of one family after another. More importantly, they saw their own family members abandoning themselves to depravity, and they felt bitter and hateful. Meng Yao. At this point, a girl gritted her teeth and said, "This time, we must get rid of this big tumor of the universe. We must not let his evil ideas continue to spread. Otherwise, the number of useless people in our family will continue to increase." Hearing this, Yi Mengyao was a bit embarrassed, but that bastard purposely destroyed his own cultivation and stayed in the novice village. Relying on his strength, he ran amok in the novice village. Many people can't do anything to him. She felt that this person's skin was extremely thick, the kind that even a Star Destroyer cannon couldn't penetrate. He stayed in the novice village all day and dominated the novice village. He didn't leave the novice village and enjoyed the pleasure of bullying noobs. If Xia Ping stayed here, he would definitely feel very innocent. He didn't purposely stay in the novice village. It was just that he didn't have enough strength. How could he purposely stay in the novice village? It's okay. The girl laughed coldly and said, "I knew there would be such shameless people in the world. I have a seal on me. As long as I carry it on me, I don't need to destroy my own cultivation to suppress my cultivation below the mortal realm. When the time comes, you can enter and leave the novice village at will. You don't need to worry about being expelled from the universe virtual network." Hearing this, Yi Mengyao was instantly overjoyed. If she could obtain this seal, then she could personally enter the novice village and beat up that bastard Wu-Woody. She wouldn't need to let her useless subordinates do anything. She believed that with the strength of the Yi family's holy maiden, beating up a liar would be a piece of cake. "I'll immediately get the Universe Express Company to send this seal to you. You must catch that despicable bastard and beat him up to get rid of a scourge for the people." The girl couldn't stand Wu-Woody for even a second. She had already blamed the reason for her cute cousin's fall to Wu-Woody. If it wasn't for that guy's evil ideas, her cute and talented cousin wouldn't have abandoned herself to stay at home all day playing games and living off her parents. Chapter 965. At this moment, Xia Ping appeared in front of the martial arts school. Just as he pushed through the door of the martial arts school, a white-bearded old man appeared in front of him. He had a sage-like demeanor and was a highly respected person. This old man is the village chief here. May I ask what this little friend wants? The white-bearded old man asked. Xia Ping blinked his eyes. I want to participate in the martial arts school's trials. Little friend's trial is over, but there is a mission here. I don't know if you are willing to accept it or not. The white-bearded old man smiled slightly. Mission? Xia Ping froze and looked at the white-bearded old man. Quickly accept it. At this time, Corinne secretly said excitedly, this is the novice village's hidden mission. Only people who reach a certain level of requirements can receive it. Once it is completed, there will definitely be generous rewards. Some rewards may be saint-level martial arts, or some kind of amazing inheritance, or even some kind of precious elixir, secret medicine, etc. In short, the value is amazing. It means that after completing the novice village's hidden mission, there will definitely be amazing rewards. It is unknown how many people want to receive such a mission, but there is no way. This requires certain opportunities and requirements. What mission? Xia Ping immediately asked. This village has been harassed by the bandit leader One-Eyed Dragon. The other party has been causing trouble for many years. I don't know how many villagers have been killed by him. The white-bearded old man looked at Xia Ping and said, I heard that little friend's martial arts are high, and your strength is astonishing. If you can eliminate this group of bandits, kill the bandit leader, One-Eyed Wolf, get rid of evil for the people, and return peace to this world, our village will definitely be grateful to little friend. In the future, we will definitely reward you handsomely. He cupped his hands towards Xia Ping, very serious. Kill the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect there to be such a character. It is estimated that this is a virtual character of this virtual space, not a real creature. This is also a test. Once completed, just like the previous assessment, he may get a lot of rewards. Moreover, he can also use this mission to fight with many experts and sharpen his martial arts cultivation base. He has to say that this is a mission that kills two birds with one stone. Don't worry. Thinking of this, Xia Ping patted his chest and said, just leave this task to me. As for that bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf, I promise to capture him easily and kill him quickly. Hearing this, the village chief was very satisfied. Then I'll leave it to you, little friend. Xia Ping turned around and left the martial arts school, heading out of the village. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. However, just as Xia Ping was about to leave the freshman village, quite a number of figures appeared on the village's public square. They were densely packed together, and there were at least a dozen of them. These people were all fierce-looking. They were tall and burly, and their faces were ferocious. Some of them had scars, tattoos, and other things on their bodies. With one look, one could tell that they were not good people. It was as if they had walked out from a bandit's nest. Look, isn't that woo-woody? Ha, I've searched the ends of the earth to no avail, only to find it by chance. This is great. I've just been teleported in and I've already seen this brat. Even the heavens are helping me. It saves us the effort of looking for him. What a coincidence. Let's go over and capture that brat and beat him up. This is also part of the employer's task. Quite a number of people also saw Xia Ping. They were all local ruffians hired by the big families. They were specially hired to deal with Xia Ping, and they had spent a lot of money. As the saying went, if you took someone's money, you had to help them eliminate disasters. When they saw Xia Ping appear, they of course surrounded him and planned to complete the employer's task. Wait, good dogs don't block the way. Xia Ping planned to leave the village, but a group of people in front of him suddenly blocked his way forward. They were all tall and burly, like layers of walls. They surrounded the road tightly, and there was almost no space for him to leave. Suddenly, he was very dissatisfied. What? Hearing these words, these people's faces turned green. What did he mean by good dogs don't block the way? He was clearly calling them dogs. This brat clearly saw that they had so many people, and they had the advantage in numbers, but he still dared to scold them. Brat, you're really bold. You actually dare to scold us. Do you know how many eyes I have? A 2-meter-tall giant man clenched his fists and looked at Xia Ping with a ferocious expression. His whole body emitted a shocking killing intent. Clearly, he was a murderer who had climbed out of a pile of corpses. If ordinary people saw him, they would have long been scared out of their wits. They would not be able to speak in front of such a murderous maniac. Such a killing intent was almost tangible. Bang! Without waiting for the giant man to finish speaking, Xia Ping slapped him without even looking. Unmovable Buddha's palm. This palm was like the descent of Buddha. It erupted with golden light. Earth energy condensed into a substance, and golden light shot out in all directions. It was as if the palm was cast from gold, and the lines on it were clear. Vaguely, there was the sound of Sanskrit, as if thousands of Buddhas were chanting. It had the flavor of salvation. The giant man didn't even have time to react and was sent flying by the slap. His huge body was sent flying like a chicken in the face of this slap. Ugh. Immediately, the giant man let out a shrill scream. His body suffered a huge force like a flood. The bones in his body made cracking sounds, and in an instant, more than a dozen bones were broken. His whole body flew out, flying dozens of meters in the air, and finally smashed into the wall of the village, creating a huge human-shaped hole. Gravel flew everywhere, and dust billowed. At this moment he could no longer speak. A large amount of blood was spat out from the corner of his mouth. I told you not to block, so don't block. Why are you still babbling here? Do you not understand human language? You have to make me hit you to hear what I'm saying. Tell me, don't you deserve a beating? Xia Ping looked down at the giant man with dissatisfaction. He felt that this guy really did not know how to appreciate favors. He was clearly blocking his way, but he was still talking so arrogantly here. Did he really think that others had time to listen to his nonsense? He did not know how to read the atmosphere at all. Hearing these words, the giant man was half dead with anger. He was so angry that he spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood. It was clearly this shameless bastard who hurt people. He did not follow the rules of Jianghu at all. Now, he pushed all the blame to himself, as if he was not in the wrong at all, and it was all his fault. It was extremely shameless. Who else dares to block my way? Jump out now and try. If I can't kill you with 3 punches, I, Wu Wudi, will change my surname from now on. Chapter 966. Arrogant. A green-robed man snorted and stared at Xia Ping coldly. You think you're invincible just because you defeated one person? If I don't teach you a lesson today, I won't know how big the universe is. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, he flipped his hand, and with a snapping sound, transparent threads intertwined with each other, turning into a huge net that covered the sky and covered the sun. Under the illumination of the sun in the sky, the originally transparent threads suddenly burst into flames. Each thread turned red, as if they were cast from molten lava. The transparent net had now become a huge net of flames. Each thread was a condensed flame energy, containing terrifying destructive power. Oh my God, isn't this the fire silkworm net? In order to deal with such a native, they're actually willing to take out such a treasure. How generous, how generous! Someone suddenly exclaimed. The so-called fire silkworm net was made from a kind of divine insect in the universe, called the fire silkworm. It spat out silk from time to time. This kind of silk was extremely tough. Even ordinary divine weapons would find it difficult to cut it. Furthermore, the silk contained fire energy and was extremely powerful. Once it exploded, it could instantly burn an object into ashes. This fire silkworm net was obviously made from this kind of silk. It inherited the power of the fire silkworm. Obviously, the power of this treasure was extremely terrifying and could not be underestimated. Looks like this kid is dead for sure. He actually forced someone to take out a treasure. How can he escape? A treasure can multiply the combat power of a person. He's no match for it barehanded. Looks like the reward this time should be obtained by this green-robed man. What a pity. I wonder what kind of treatment this kid will receive after he's captured. Is there a need to ask? He's offended so many big families. It'll be hard for him to die even if he wants to. The surrounding people discussed, their eyes flickering. They all thought that once this treasure was taken out, this kid Wu Wudi would either die or be crippled. There was no way he could survive. Because in the game, the difference between someone who had a treasure and someone who had nothing was too big. They could not be mentioned in the same breath. You can even take out prized artifacts in the virtual space? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Corinne replied, it is not a brilliant artifact, but this brilliant artifact itself is a magical weapon of the martial arts space. You also know that the entire martial arts space is actually equivalent to a huge virtual game, in which you can also kill monsters to obtain treasures. If you complete the mission, not only can you obtain saint-level martial arts, but you can also obtain powerful game treasures. Although I cannot bring these prized artifacts out into the virtual space, by relying on these weapons, I can be like a fish in water in the martial space. My strength will increase greatly, allowing me to complete more tasks and obtain more benefits. Of course, obtaining the prized artifact of the martial Dao space is no simple matter. It requires a great deal of time and a great price. Even if many people want to obtain it, they are incapable of doing so. It indicated that in the martial arts space, one could also obtain virtual treasures, but these virtual treasures were extremely rare, incomparably difficult to obtain, and their value was astonishing. The cyan-clothed man angrily shouted, and the fire silkworm's silk net enveloped down from the sky, sealing the sky and locking the earth, covering an area of almost 1 kilometer. It completely enveloped Xia Ping, wanting to capture him alive. His face revealed a trace of coldness. He was confident of his victory, because this fire silkworm's silk net was a priceless treasure that he had finally obtained after paying a huge price. It was not only constructed from the silk spat out by the fire silkworm, but it had also been refined by a powerhouse. Numerous mysterious runes had been added on it, making it incomparably mysterious and extremely tough. Once it enveloped the enemy would basically be unable to escape, just like catching a turtle in a jar. At the same time, it also possessed extremely strong destructive power. If he operated the power in his body and activated the energy of this big net, he could instantly burn the enemy to ashes, leaving nothing behind. Xia Ping used Kunpeng steps, and his feet stepped in a strange pattern, wanting to dodge this fire silkworm's silk net. It's useless. My fire silkworm's silk net blots out the sky and covers the earth, covering a radius of 1 kilometer. You are already within my blockade range. Even if you want to escape, it will be futile. You should quickly surrender and strive for leniency, and perhaps you will have a chance. Otherwise, if you are caught by me, your family will definitely increase your punishment. The green-clothed man sneered, unceasingly striking at Xia Ping's confidence. At the same time, the fire silkworm's silk net expanded even more, and countless red flame lines burst out, covering the sky and covering the earth. The entire sky seemed to have transformed into a sea of fire. The surrounding people didn't dare to approach at all, because this kind of fire wasn't an ordinary fire, but the fire essence. It had boundless power, and it could kill without blinking. If an ordinary person were to approach and come into contact with this fire essence, they would immediately be burned into innumerable pieces. At this moment, the fire filled the sky, and the temperature rose rapidly by tens of hundreds of degrees. It was incomparably hot, and even the air was distorted. Indistinctly, in this kind of heat wave, there seemed to be an undying phoenix dancing. Since there is no way to escape, then there is no need to escape at all. Xia Ping snorted coldly. He suddenly stopped moving, and with a slap of his hand, he slapped the fire silkworm's silk net over. Immediately, a powerful vortex of stellar energy appeared on his right hand, and it rotated clockwise, producing an extremely strong suction force, like a black hole in the depths of the universe. What kind of power is this? The green-robed man was immediately shocked, and his pupils shrank. He clearly saw that this palm of Xia Ping's contained an extremely terrifying spiral force, and it produced a frightening suction force. As the stellar energy rotated unceasingly, his fire silkworm's silk net actually tightened unceasingly, and it quickly curled into a ball, as if it was about to be taken away by Xia Ping with one hand. Even the fire essence that could burn and destroy everything seemed to have no effect on this kid. On the contrary, this guy's 108,000 pores breathed, and he swallowed it like a whale nibbling away. In the time of a few breaths, the fire essence seemed to have been swallowed into his body and was completely absorbed. This is a joke, right? The fire silkworm's silk net actually has no effect on this kid, and he destroyed it cleanly with just a few punches and kicks. Many people were dumbfounded, and they felt that this kind of power was really too terrifying. This wasn't a human, but simply a child of a legendary primordial fierce beast. One must know that this was a precious weapon, and it contained the fire essence. Now, it was actually caught by a single hand, and he was trying to take away this fire silkworm's silk net and make it his own. Stop, this fire silkworm's silk net is mine. The green-robed man was shocked and angry at the same time. He felt that the treasure on his body was in danger of being lost, and he immediately shouted in anger, "Get lost!" Chapter 967. Xia Ping's punch was extremely terrifying. It was as if Mount Tai was pressing down, almost turning the surroundings into a vacuum. The air was expelled in all directions and condensed into a substance. After reaching the seventh heaven of the Supreme Power Realm, his strength, speed, and gang chi were incomparable. Even if he were to deal with a cultivator at the peak of the Supreme Power Realm, it would be a piece of cake for him. The punch really had the feeling that the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. The man in cyan let out a shrill scream. His chest was firmly hit by the punch. It was as if he had been trampled by an ancient barbaric elephant. His whole body was smashed to pieces. He felt severe pain all over his body. It seemed that every bone in his body was broken, producing an extremely severe pain. Even a woman giving birth would not be so painful. No, I can't die like this. This precious weapon belongs to me. The man in cyan let out a scream. He did not care much about his death. After all, it was not a real death in the virtual world. What he was worried about was the fire silk net in his hand. This was a treasure that he had spent a lot of effort and time in the martial arts space to obtain. If he were to die here, his treasured weapon would fall along with him. This was something he absolutely could not tolerate. Losing this treasure was simply asking for his life. But this kind of thing could not be changed by his will. The next second, his whole body burst into pieces and turned into a white light. Soon, he disappeared on the spot and was quickly expelled from this virtual world. Everyone's hair stood on end. They felt that this kid was extremely ferocious. He had killed a master with one punch, and his whole body had been smashed. This had brought almost indelible mental trauma to people's spirits. Dying in this virtual world was also a very serious matter. They would not be able to log in for at least a month. They needed to stay in the real world to recuperate and let the exhausted spiritual force completely recover. If the matter was serious, it would leave a psychological shadow. It would also erase the spirit of the martial artist and damage the foundation of martial arts. They would not be able to take a step forward in this life, and there would be big problems in cultivation. Therefore, if it was not necessary, they did not want to die in the virtual world. But obviously, it was not their turn to choose now. All of you can die too. Xia Ping didn't stop even after he killed the green-robed man with a punch. He leaped up and charged towards the group of people in front of him. He held the fire silk net left behind by the green-robed man in his hand and used it to envelop them. Damn, this bastard! You actually dare to attack us? How dare you? Not good. This kid has obtained a prized artifact. We are simply no match for him. The difference between us is too big. Shameless. This prized artifact belongs to this bastard. To think that he would dare snatch it? The surrounding people were caught off guard. They didn't expect Xia Ping to be so savage. He had just killed the green-clothed man with a single punch, And now he actually dared to kill his way up alone and sweep through his enemies. They even discovered to their amazement that this fire silk web seemed to have become even more violent under Xia Ping's control. Every single fire silk web on it suddenly underwent a huge change under Xia Ping's control and the infusion of Gang Qi in his body. Rumble, every single fire silk web actually underwent a huge change and transformed into a fire divine bird. This was the golden crow of hell that was born in the depths of the sun. This was a divine beast that could control flames. They appeared in front of everyone one by one. They formed a flock and covered the sky and earth as they charged over. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly and flames shot out in all directions. It was as if the surrounding several kilometers had turned into a world of flames. What is this? Quite a number of people were shocked. They could feel the raging flames. It was simply several times more terrifying than when the cyan-robed man had used the fire silk net. This magic treasure seemed to have been created specifically for Xia Ping's sake. This was also a matter of course. Xia Ping himself had cultivated the pure young immortal art. He was born to be a living creature that could control flames. To him, flames were simply like breathing. Therefore, this fire silk web in Xia Ping's hands was simply like a fish in water. It was like a tiger that had grown wings. Its power was many times stronger than when the green-clothed man used it earlier. It could even be said that this fire silk web falling into the hands of the green-clothed man was simply like casting pearls before swine. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, the golden crows of hell flapped their wings and whistled. They swooped down one after another towards the crowd. They were like suns falling down, carrying with them a terrifying aura that shook the heavens and the earth. Not good. Hurry up and dodge. The power of the flames is really too great. We can't fight them head-on. Many people shouted loudly. Feeling the terrifying power of the flames, they immediately knew that if they tried to resist, they would definitely be burned to ashes. The problem was that even if they shouted now, it was already too late. Immediately, a group of people were caught off guard and were immediately hit. The terrifying flames erupted, producing a power like that of a missile. In an instant it exploded. Some of the weaker people were immediately blown to pieces and turned into countless wreckage. Their entire bodies disappeared just like that, and they were expelled from the virtual world. There were also some people who were very sensitive. They sensed Xia Ping's attack in time and tried to dodge. However, it was completely useless. Because this was an area of effect attack. Although they managed to dodge the impact, they couldn't dodge the power of the flames. These flames landed on everyone's body. Immediately, it was as if flames had encountered diesel. They began to burn fiercely, crackling and crackling, turning one person after another into a human-shaped torch. It hurts. It hurts so much. Just what kind of flames are these? Why can't they be extinguished? Damned aboriginals. To think that you would dare kill us. In the future, you and I will not rest until one of us is dead. Just you wait. There will definitely be someone who will avenge us. Just wait for your death. Just wait for your death. You will not have a good ending. Absolutely not. The group of people screamed out again and again, cursing viciously. However, no matter how much they cursed, the group of people died in mere moments. All of them were burned to ashes. Everything was cleared away, leaving only some ashes on the ground. Not bad, not bad. This prized artifact is really good. Xia Ping was very satisfied with this newly acquired prized artifact. It was very powerful. Additionally, it was an area of effect attack. Could be said to be both offensive and defensive. That was especially true when dealing with a large number of enemies. It would definitely be very effective. Unfortunately, he could not bring it out to the outside world. He could only use it in the virtual world. That was quite a pity. However, with this prized artifact, he would surely be able to increase his strength by quite a bit in this virtual world. Even if he were to be besieged by a large number of cultivators, he would not be afraid. Chapter 968. At this moment, the people who entered were expelled from the virtual network one by one. The people from the major clans were all stunned. They had never expected such a ridiculous thing to happen. What's going on? Didn't you guys just enter? Why are you out so quickly? Someone asked. He didn't understand what had happened. The group of mercenaries had just entered, but they were out in the blink of an eye. Even Yang Wei couldn't be so fast. It hadn't even been 3 seconds. Sorry, we just entered and met that brat. In the end, we were defeated with just a few punches and kicks. Then, we were expelled from the virtual network, someone said shamefully. He was simply too ashamed to show his face. Immediately, a descendant of an aristocratic family cursed, that scoundrel swindler was only one person. You guys had dozens of people, but you were all killed by a single person. Where did you guys learn martial arts? Did you guys learn to be dogs? Then what's the use of us hiring you? You all sent food to him. Ask yourselves, do you still have any shame? Do you want to take the money and not do anything? He was simply going crazy. He had painstakingly hired so many people to deal with that swindler, but in just a short while, they were sent back to their hometown with just a few punches and kicks. He had never seen such a thing before. You can insult me, but you can't insult my martial arts, someone said angrily. Bang. Before he could finish his words, the aristocrat slapped him across the face. So what if I humiliate you? You still have some damn pride? Why didn't you just now? You crawled out like a dog after being beaten by him. Why didn't you make a fuss then? If I don't beat you up, all the money I've given would be wasted. Put. He beat the guy to death to vent the anger in his heart. That person was immediately beaten silly. He lay on the ground, too ashamed to show his face. Both his body and mind had suffered great damage. Huang Jie, what's wrong with you? Didn't you bring a prized artifact with you? Why didn't you deal with that brat? An aristocratic family disciple looked at the green-robed man. He had high expectations for this man because he had a treasure from the virtual world. It was very valuable. With this treasure, he could simply sweep the newbie village. Dealing with that swindler would be a piece of cake. Hence, he believed that this mission would definitely not fail. My treasure was stolen by that bastard swindler. The green-robed man, Huang Jie, said angrily. He clenched his fists. In terms of losses, there was no doubt that his loss was the greatest. Robbed? The group of people were all dumbfounded. This treasure could actually be snatched away? Just what was going on? The people around them immediately told them what had happened. The man in cyan had taken out the fire silk net, a treasured artifact, but it was no match for Wu Wudi. He had been defeated with just a few punches and kicks. The man's face looked like a pig's head, and he was directly expelled from the virtual network. In the end, Wu Wudi took away his treasure artifact and used it to kill everyone present. It could be said that he was the biggest culprit in this failure. If this bastard hadn't sent the treasures to the enemy, they wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. Huang Jie, what the fuck is going on with you? Are you in cahoots with that swindler, Wu Wudi? You can't beat that swindler even though you have a prized artifact, yet you still sent your prized artifact to him. Are you trying to turn the world upside down? The group of young masters from the aristocratic families were furious. Some even suspected that Huang Jie was a spy that Wu Wudi had planted among them. Otherwise, how could such a thing have happened? In the novice village, having a treasure artifact would increase the user's strength by several times. They were almost invincible, and it was impossible for them to lose. Now, not only had they lost, but they had even given up their treasure artifact. What kind of nonsense was this? They had never heard of such a thing. It's not that I'm too weak, but that bastard is too strong. I suspect that the kid has mastered a saint-level martial art. That's why he's so abnormal. Huang Jie quickly shirked the responsibility, saying that it wasn't his fault, but that the kid was too abnormal. Perhaps he had mastered an amazing martial art. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done such a thing. What? A saint-level martial art? As soon as this was said, everyone was shocked. Even though everyone present was a young master from a large family or even a direct descendant, there weren't many who had truly mastered a saint-level martial art. After all, even with a saint-level martial art, it was extremely difficult to learn it. Without enough aptitude, even if the secret manual was placed in front of you, you wouldn't be able to understand it. This required extreme talent. It was like calculus, ordinary differential, and other advanced mathematical knowledge. If placed in front of a primary school student, he wouldn't be able to understand it. This was the gap between them. Right? I remember that the kid was in a hurry to leave the novice village. He seemed to be planning to complete the novice village mission. Someone suddenly remembered that Xia Ping was in a hurry, as if he had something important to do. It can't be a novice village mission? It said that the rewards of the novice village missions are very generous. Some might be the saint's inheritance, some might be a peerless treasure artifact, and even some secret medicine. In short, every reward is coveted. This is the reward left behind by the saint who created this virtual network. It's to reward the younger generation with potential. Damn, that kid is already an adult. He's so handsome, and he's actually qualified to accept the novice village mission. Snatching the martial arts opportunity of a child, he's too shameless. Bastard, shameless swindler. We definitely can't let him succeed. That's right. We must stop this bastard from getting the mission reward. Otherwise, wouldn't he be going against the heavens? In the future, who would be able to keep him in check in the novice village? Wouldn't he be the king of the novice village? Many people were cursing. They felt that they couldn't let the swindler have his way in the novice village. Otherwise, where would they put their faces? They wouldn't be able to take revenge. Yes, immediately bring out a large number of treasure artifacts and destroy that kid. If one person is not his match, then 100 people will come. I don't believe that we can't destroy him. Bring all the weapons and kill that son of a bitch. Oh, right, if we catch that bastard, don't be in a hurry to kill him. First, catch him and torture him. Force him to tell us about the saint's martial arts. This kind of inheritance is simply casting pearls before swine. That's right. We must skin this kid and let him taste the world's 18 kinds of torture. A group of people gnashed their teeth. They wanted to deal with Xia Ping together and make this swindler pay a huge price. And my fire silk net, you must bring it back for me. This is a treasure that I paid a huge price to obtain. It absolutely cannot fall into the hands of this swindler. The green-clothed man, Huang Jie, cried. Without this fire silk net, his strength would be reduced by more than half. He must get this treasure artifact back. Only then would he have a foothold in the virtual world. Otherwise, he would really be finished. Chapter 969. Just as Xia Ping was about to leave the village, the teleporter in the square flashed. More and more figures appeared. There were at least 20 of them. Again! Xia Ping's face was gloomy. He always felt that these people were like locusts. After killing one group, another group would come. There was no end to it. But when he saw the figures clearly, he found that they were not adults looking for trouble. They were a group of children. They had returned to the virtual world. Native brother. The little girl, Yi Jiajia, saw Xia Ping's figure and shouted excitedly. Bush, bush. As soon as she said that, the other children flew over to Xia Ping's side. Didn't you guys go to school? Xia Ping blinked and looked at the group of children who had returned. The little girl, Yi Jiajia, said matter-of-factly, because class was boring, so we skipped class. What? Xia Ping looked at the group of children speechlessly. He did not know what to say. Although he had taught these children a lesson, he did not expect them to learn so quickly. They had all started skipping class. Let's not talk about this. Native brother, where are you going? The little girl, Yi Jiajia, blinked her big eyes. The other children looked at Xia Ping as well. I am going to complete the beginner's village mission and kill the bandit leader, One-Eyed Wolf. Xia Ping answered casually. Beginner's village mission? Bandit One-Eyed Wolf? Oh my god. Is it those vicious bandits that are often shown on TV? I heard that those bandits kill without batting an eye. They do all sorts of evil. They often bully men and take women. They are very evil. Wow, it is the legendary bandit leader. This is great. I really want to see what they look like. The group of children chattered excitedly. They all wanted to see the legendary bandits. For them, there was no difference between bandits and the legendary giant pandas. After all, this was the era of the universe. The famous ones were interstellar pirates. They piloted spaceships and went around doing evil. The profession of bandits had disappeared in the long river of history. What do you guys want? Xia Ping suddenly felt that something was wrong. He felt as if he had been pestered by this group of children. Native brother, take us to see them. See bandits. We are going to see bandits together. Yes, let's go together. Let's fight the bandits together. It was the right decision to skip class this time. I didn't expect to have the opportunity to fight bandits and be a hero. A group of children surrounded Xia Ping. Some hugged Xia Ping's left leg, while others hugged his right leg. There was also a little girl who jumped onto his head and hugged his neck. She looked like she wouldn't let go unless he agreed. Moreover, they were all little monsters with strength comparable to calves. They could not be underestimated. If it weren't for Xia Ping's strong body, he would have been killed by them. All right, let go of me. Xia Ping was helpless. Hearing these words, the group of children cheered excitedly and immediately let go. All of them followed Xia Ping out of the novice village and entered the 100,000 mountains. After walking for a few minutes, Xia Ping suddenly realized a very serious problem. He did not have the exact address of the bandit One-Eyed Wolf. This was a primeval forest with mountains after mountains covering a vast area. Wanting to find the existence of the bandit One-Eyed Wolf in such a vast area was undoubtedly like looking for a needle in a haystack. Oh no, I should go back and ask the village chief for a map. Otherwise, it would be too difficult to find the bandit One-Eyed Wolf in this primeval forest. Xia Ping was in a bit of a dilemma and wanted to return to the novice village. Native brother, what's wrong? The little girl, Yi Jia, quickly noticed that something was wrong with Xia Ping and immediately asked. Therefore, Xia Ping expressed his opinion to her. Without the bandit's address, he wanted to temporarily return to the novice village. Why do we have to go back? Isn't the bandit's place over there? The little girl, Yi Jia, pointed to a big tree in front of them. There was a sign hanging on it, which seemed to say that the bandit's lair was to the left. What? The corner of Xia Ping's mouth twitched. This place actually had a sign. The bandit was afraid that others wouldn't know where his lair was. He actually marked his position in the forest. Why is there a sign here? Xia Ping was speechless. The little girl, Yi Jia, tilted her head and said in puzzlement, why is there no sign? There are signs everywhere in this place. What if we get lost? Hearing this, Xia Ping understood. Those who came to the novice village were probably little kids. Thus, they were worried that they would get lost wandering around. Thus, they built signs in the forest. They walked all the way, turning here and there. Every time they came to a fork in the road, a sign would appear, accurately guiding them to the bandit's lair. Just like that, they walked for 3 days and 3 nights. Of course, this was only the time in the virtual world. In the outside world, only a few hours had passed. We're here. After walking for who knows how many kilometers and crossing over mountains, they arrived at the foot of a small mountain. A child excitedly pointed at a sign at the foot of the mountain. A few crooked black characters were written on the sign, Bandit One-Eyed Wolf's Lair. Xia Ping raised his head and immediately saw that on the mountainside, there were many antique buildings. There was also a stone-casted city wall. It was over 10 to 20 meters tall and looked very majestic. It was a place that was easy to defend and hard to attack. A creaking sound rang out. At this moment, the stronghold's gate opened. At the same time, a large number of people logged into the virtual world from the real world and arrived at the novice village. At this moment, the square was densely packed with people. There were a total of 100 or 200 people, all of whom were fierce and evil, exuding a shocking murderous aura. Obviously, these people were not good people in the real world. Most of them were outlaws who had done all kinds of evil. They were called by many big families to deal with Xia Ping. There was also a tall and graceful figure at the edge of the crowd. Her face was covered with a white veil, and her true appearance could not be seen. Her body exuded an aura that kept people at a distance. Even this group of fierce people could feel that this woman was not to be trifled with. In the pugilistic world, there were 3 kinds of people that could not be provoked. One was a child, another was a woman, and the last was an old man. These people looked weak on the surface. If they did not have a few tricks up their sleeves, how would they dare to come out to roam the pugilistic world? Obviously, this woman was also a famous fierce person. The hearts of the villains present surged with vigilance, and they did not dare to go forward to talk to her. Well, where is Wu Wudi? I heard that he went out on a mission, but I don't know where exactly. It doesn't matter. We'll wait outside and wait for him. He will come back one day. Chapter 970. At that moment, the gate of the stronghold opened. Immediately, a group of people ran out from the gate. There were more than 100 of them, all wearing silver armor and holding long spears. They looked like a regular army in ancient times, neat and uniform. The leader was a middle-aged man riding a tall horse. He was tall and had a ferocious face. One of his eyes was covered with a black eye patch, and the other was vertical, revealing a cold light. His whole body emitted a ferocious aura. As soon as this group of people appeared, it was obvious that they were a group of fierce bandits. They were well-trained and killed people like flies. It was enough to make countless people tremble in fear. Some adults would tremble when they saw them. However, this group of children were not ordinary people. When they saw this group of bandits, all of them were extremely excited. Their eyes seemed to be emitting little stars. Wow, these are the legendary bandits. They're so cool. Look at this scar, this mark, it must have been cut by someone. It's so realistic, even more powerful than on TV. This weapon is also very powerful. It emits a cold light. Maybe it's extremely sharp and can cut iron like mud. It's said that their main job is to rob people. They often run around and never need to go to class or do homework. Don't need to do homework? Won't the teachers criticize them? They'll be punished to stand in class and hit their palms. Stupid, they don't need to go to class. Why would there be teachers? That's true, but if they don't study or go to class, they won't know anything. Aren't they very stupid? They are a little stupid, but they are fierce. The group of children chattered, looking at the group of bandits like curious babies. They pointed and commented on the group of bandits, showing their surprise. Hearing this, the group of bandits' faces darkened. They felt like they were animals in a zoo, surrounded by a group of curious tourists. Shut up. One of the bandits couldn't take it anymore and shouted, "You bunch of brats, don't you know that this is our territory? How dare you come close? Do you want to die?" He looked at the group of children with a ferocious face, trying to scare them. Wow, the bandits are talking. Their voices are so loud. Quick, go and catch him. Catch him alive. I want to ask him how to be a bandit. That way, I don't need to go to school. Yes, I want to catch them as pets and show them to the students. They are bandits from ancient times. The group of children didn't seem frightened at all. Instead, when they heard the bandits speak, they were all very surprised. They actually rushed towards the bandits at an extremely fast speed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All of them circulated their astral energy, and like cannonballs, they tore through the air. Each of them was like a small ferocious beast, extremely powerful. In an instant, they pounced towards the bandits. What? The bandits were completely dumbfounded. They didn't expect that this group of children would actually dare to personally pounce on them. They were like wolves and tigers, and their speed was so fast that they couldn't even react. Bang, bang, bang. Although these children looked very small, each of them had gone through the most top-notch training. They grew up soaking in medicinal baths, tempering their bodies, cultivating top-notch cultivation techniques, and possessing tyrannical bloodlines. One could imagine just how terrifying the strength of these brats was. With a single punch, they could instantly generate several tons of destructive power, bombarding these bandits. In an instant, a dozen or so bandits were hit. Their entire bodies were sent flying, coughing up blood in midair. 5 or 6 of their ribs were broken, making cracking sounds. It was very miserable. Amazing! Xia Ping was speechless when he saw this scene. If this group of children were to come to the Cloud Realm, they would definitely turn the world upside down. He had never seen such abnormal children. Each of them was like the offspring of a divine beast. If it wasn't for the fact that he cultivated the top-notch cultivation technique, possessed the Golden Crow of Hell bloodline, and had many fortuitous encounters, he really wouldn't be able to control this group of little monsters. In just a few breaths, half of the bandits were swept away, and they were staggering. Not bad. At this moment, the leader of the bandits, One-Eyed Wolf, who was riding on a tall horse, sneered. His eyes revealed a frightening cold light. At this moment he finally made his move. Boom! He jumped up from his horse, and like an eagle he leaped into the air and swooped down. His entire body was wrapped in a terrifying flame energy. He slapped down from the air, and an extremely hot aura came from all around. It was like a sun falling from the sky, containing extremely pure flame energy and full of destructive power. Wow, this bandit leader is so powerful. Everyone, run away quickly. Ja, let's run. When the group of children saw the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf make his move, they were immediately shocked. Their reaction speed was also extremely fast. They knew that they were no match for this bandit leader, so they quickly dodged. They activated their protective vigor to resist the bandit's flame energy. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, they were sent flying by the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf's palm strength. They fell to the ground like rubber balls, rolling a dozen times in midair, extinguishing the flames, and finally stopping. However, the skin of this group of children was very thick. Even if they were hit by the palm, they were unscathed and still jumped up and down. At this moment, the ground was also hit by the palm. In an instant, a pit with a diameter of 10 meters appeared on the whole ground. Gravel splashed, soil flew, and dense cracks appeared on the ground. The scene was shocking. Even around the pit, there were traces of flames everywhere, emitting a raging fire. Some of the soil was even burned into molten lava, crackling. This showed that the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf was terrible, and he was not an ordinary person. There was a trace of coldness in Xia Ping's eyes. He could see that the bandit leader's gang qi cultivation had reached the peak of the supreme power realm of the ninth heaven. If that was all, it would not be a big deal. However, he had mastered a peerless martial art with infinite power. It was estimated that it was at least a sage's martial art. Otherwise, its power could not be so terrible. He knew that it would not be so easy to complete this task in the novice village. Maybe the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf was the biggest obstacle and the most terrible enemy. Come on, did you take the task of the village and want to kill me, One-Eyed Wolf? I don't know how many idiots wanted to take this task to kill me, but they all died in front of the village. You are no exception. One-Eyed Wolf sneered and immediately rushed up. Even in the face of children, he would never show any mercy. In his eyes, there were only two kinds of people, enemies and friends. He activated his gang qi, and flames covered his fists. His whole body was like a man of fire. He smashed over, covering a radius of 1 kilometer. Heat waves rolled, and flames shot in all directions. Dong! Chapter 971. Boom! In an instant, Xia Ping was hit by One-Eyed Wolf's punch. He suddenly felt as if his whole body was enveloped by a sun, emitting endless heat waves. Immediately, he felt as if his hair, skin, blood, and bones were all melting at this moment. Even his gang energy felt like it was being evaporated by the heat. What a strong flame energy! Xia Ping's pupils constricted. He felt that this One-Eyed Wolf was not an ordinary bandit leader. He had saint-level martial arts. When he punched, it was as if the sun had descended, burning everything within. It was estimated that if an ordinary Grandmaster-level cultivator encountered this bandit leader, he would definitely be killed with one punch and burned to ashes. It was possible that this was another shadow of a saint, disguised as a bandit leader. This One-Eyed Wolf's strength was even more terrifying than the shadow of a saint in the martial arts school. He seemed to have more intelligence and agility than before, and his combat power was extraordinary. Sure enough, this novice village task was not so easy to complete. Good lad, you have some strength. Take another punch from me. One-Eyed Wolf was also a little surprised. If an ordinary person took this punch, they would have been beaten to death, and all the blood in their body would have evaporated. However, the lad in front of him was only knocked back a dozen steps, and his body did not suffer much damage. However, he was not surprised for too long. Since he could not kill him with one punch, he would give him 2 or 3 punches. One-eyed wolf pressed forward. His movements were like that of a wolf, filled with explosive power as he punched out once more. His fist shone with boundless golden light and was enveloped by the crimson flames. The surrounding flames condensed and seemed to have turned into molten lava, containing boundless heat. Anyone who came within 3 zhang of it would be burned by this scorching energy. It was like a sun, burning everything around it into ashes just by standing there. It was a great killing weapon in itself, sweeping through everything in its path. He can actually use the flame gang energy to such an extent. Xia Ping secretly praised. It was an eye-opener. He felt that his technique of using the gang energy in his body was too simple. It was like a baby learning how to walk. His opponent punched, and the flame energy vibrated, displaying the burning, heat, destruction, and other characteristics of the flame vividly and vividly. Not even a bit of energy was wasted. It was like a fire god burning the world. Anything with water would evaporate completely. It was extremely overbearing and unreasonable, not allowing any energy other than flames to exist. Extreme. Yes, Xia Ping felt what was called extreme power from this punch. When one's speed reached the pinnacle, even a leaf or a flower could easily cut through steel, kill someone from 1,000 miles away, tear apart everything, and cut through iron like it was mud. This was the terror of reaching the pinnacle of speed. The same was true for the power of fire. The one-eyed wolf, the bandit chief, had already unleashed the burning and destructive properties of fire to the extreme. It seemed like anything that came into contact with the flames would be completely destroyed and incinerated internally. It even had the effect of lasting a long time. The flames stayed in place and burned on the rocks, giving off raging flames and continuously destroying them. It was estimated that once the enemy was touched by these flames would not stop until the enemy was completely incinerated. One-eyed wolf's punch smashed into Xia Ping's body and instantly hit his dark north body protecting technique. A layer of internal aura shield emerged and condensed into a transparent chi shield. Immediately, the flame power of this punch burned wildly, as if to burn a big hole in his dark north body protecting technique, and there was a feeling of penetrating into his internal organs through qigong. Once successful, I am afraid that countless meridians in his body will be roasted by this flame aura, and the whole person will become a human-shaped coke and disappear from the virtual world. This flame is not an ordinary flame, but a kind of strange flame. No wonder it's so terrifying. Even the dark north body protecting technique can't hold on. Xia Ping's pupils searched. He noticed that the bandit chief one-eyed wolf had absorbed a kind of strange flame of heaven and earth, similar to the fire of life, earth spirit fire, and sun essence that he had absorbed before. Therefore, the other party's flame aura was so powerful and destructive. Coupled with the saint-level fist technique, this was simply invincible and could fight 1 against 100. This bandit chief is so powerful. I only know how to spit fire all day long. I'm going to die of heat. Native Big Brother, don't lose, defeat this bad guy quickly. Yes, Native Big Brother, you will definitely win, you can't lose. The surrounding group of little kids hid far away, as if they couldn't bear such heat. They cheered Xia Ping from afar, hoping to defeat this bandit chief. The other bandits didn't dare to approach. In a battle of this level, they would die if they entered. You want to defeat me? You're dreaming. I'll send you to the West Heaven. Die for me. One-eyed wolf sneered. He was unforgiving and displayed a wonderful fist technique. In the air, there was a dense fist mark, each of which contained a terrifying flame energy, like a flaming meteor descending to the earth, with unparalleled power. It seemed that he wanted to destroy Xia Ping in one move, and he used all his strength. Saint-level fist technique? You're not the only one who knows. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a cold light. He stepped out, punched in the air, and operated the pure young immortal secret art. In that instant, 108,000 pores on his body emitted wisps of flames, and all of them gathered together. His entire body seemed to have become a huge man of fire. and the flame energy gathered under his fist. In that instant, it actually formed a huge flame vortex, producing an extremely terrifying spiral force. This fist smashed towards the bandit chief One-Eyed Wolf, and the two forces collided. Bang, bang, bang. The fist mark in the air was instantly destroyed by the flame vortex. As if there was a black hole, all the fist force was torn apart, and in a few breaths, it was completely annihilated, leaving nothing behind. What? The bandit chief One-Eyed Wolf was shocked. He didn't expect Xia Ping's fist technique to be so terrifying, containing a spiral force, instantly breaking his fist technique. He was completely caught off guard, and was punched through the air by Xia Ping. His body flew out just like that, and instantly smashed into a small mountain in the distance. With a bang, that small stone mountain was instantly shaken to the point of collapsing, splitting into pieces and turning into powder. There was even a huge crater that appeared, and the cracks extended for several kilometers. The scene was astonishing. With a puff, the bandit chief One-Eyed Wolf couldn't help but vomit a mouthful of blood. Damn, this isn't over yet. Die for me. Chapter 972. Bang bang bang. The battle between Xia Ping and the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf was extremely intense. In the air, two huge fireballs collided. It was as if two suns were colliding, erupting with terrifying power and rumbling sounds. Every time they collided, a large amount of flames would erupt. These condensed flames fell in all directions, creating huge craters and even burning the rocks. In just a few short minutes, the surrounding several kilometers had turned into a sea of fire. Even a small mountain in the distance was covered in flames, burning fiercely. Native brother is so strong. Defeat that bad guy. Do your best to defeat that bad bandit. Seeing such a shocking battle scene, the group of children were all dumbfounded. They looked at Xia Ping with admiration and cheered him on. What's going on? Why is this kid so strong? He can actually fight on par with the boss. No way. Can he really defeat the boss? That's impossible. The boss is an invincible existence. Since ancient times, who knows how many people have come to challenge him, but all of them have died. This kid will not be an exception. Stop arguing. Hurry up and dodge or we'll die here. The surrounding bandits were dumbstruck as well. They'd never imagined that their leader would actually be unable to instantly kill this kid. This was simply an inconceivable matter that greatly exceeded their expectations, and it caused them to have a bad premonition. However, they had no time to care about their boss. The battle was simply too intense. Those who were close to the battlefield would suffer. Many bandits who were relatively close retreated in fear, dodging to the side. Some of them did not manage to dodge in time and were smashed by a fireball. They were instantly burned to ashes, not even having the chance to scream. Seeing this situation, the surviving bandits revealed expressions of lingering fear. So that's how it is. The power of the spiral can fuse with anything. This is a superb battle technique. As the battle became more and more intense, Xia Ping's control of the power of the spiral became even more superb. He fused the power of the spiral into his fiery astral energy. With every punch and kick, he blasted out a flame spiral, producing extremely strong penetrative power and full of destructive power. It could be said that the power of his current moves was many times stronger than before. This was a qualitative change. Even though his strength hadn't changed much, his destructive power had become even more terrifying. The spiraling fireballs smashed into the ground one after another, instantly creating a huge pit. It was like a spiral drill, drilling more than 10 meters into the ground in a few breaths, causing soil to fly everywhere. This kind of attack power could penetrate the protective aura, and almost no one could block it. The bandit leader, One-Eyed Wolf, immediately sensed a terrifying aura coming from Xia Ping's body. He felt that Xia Ping was many times more dangerous than before. It was as if Xia Ping possessed a method capable of threatening his life. He immediately felt that he couldn't go on like this. If he continued to fight, he would definitely die. He had to end the battle quickly and get rid of this dangerous enemy as soon as possible. One-eyed wolf let out a furious roar as he circulated the astral energy in his body. A sun seemed to emerge from the depths of his Dantian's sea of qi, emanating terrifying fiery energy. The 108,000 pores on his body burst forth with a huge golden light that illuminated the world. It was as if all the flame energy had gathered on his fists. This was like a laser cannon. All the energy gathered together and then exploded in an instant, creating an extremely terrifying destructive power. This was an attack that could tear apart the defenses of a battleship. Xia Ping's eyes gleamed. The infernal golden crow's eye spun slowly, and his thinking speed reached 10 times that of normal. It was as if the time of everything in the world had slowed down by 10 times. He clearly saw the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf's attack. The opponent's angle, speed, destructive power, and so on were all within the scope of his calculations. He clearly understood everything. However, he didn't care about it. He was immersed in his own comprehension of the spiral force. Right, what should I call this move? At this moment, Xia Ping's thinking speed had reached an extreme limit. 1 second had passed in the outside world, but several hours had passed in the world of his mind. He continued to think. At this moment, his comprehension of the spiral force had reached a new height. Based on the martial arts knowledge he had learned, he continued to rearrange and combine them. A virtual figure was practicing in the depths of his mind, slowly creating a new killer move. Right, since it has something to do with the spiral force, why don't I call it the Black Vortex Ripple Fist? At this moment, Xia Ping's mind was enlightened. He punched out, and all the flame energy in his body gathered on his fist. The majestic flame energy gathered together, forming a vortex that turned into a sphere. This sphere kept spinning like a black hole, seemingly devouring the light around it. Most of the color disappeared, leaving only black. The surrounding people all saw a black vortex appear above Xia Ping's fist, and the surrounding air condensed into a solid form. Circles of ripples appeared, spreading out in all directions, emitting a strange and mysterious aura. Kill! Xia Ping punched out. In an instant, a spinning fireball exploded, smashing towards One-Eyed Wolf. It was huge, with a diameter of 2 to 3 meters, and flew out like a meteor. At the same time, One-Eyed Wolf's attack also blasted over. It turned into a flame beam, and the air was scorching hot. As it swept across, even the air seemed to be burning. This attack was extremely terrifying, and its penetrative power was astonishing. Even a mountain would be pierced by this flame beam, and the entire mountain would be torn apart. Rumble! The two energies collided, like a comet hitting the earth. However, it was clear that the spinning fireball had the upper hand. One-Eyed Wolf's flame beam landed on the spiral fireball, and it was like a beam of light falling into a black hole. It was instantly devoured and turned into nothingness. How is this possible? One-Eyed Wolf was shocked. He had not expected that his attack would be futile, and he would even be devoured directly, unable to do anything. He tried to dodge, but it was too late. The spiral fireball smashed over, like a meteor falling to the ground, and slammed hard on One-Eyed Wolf's body. In just a few breaths' time, the earth energy shield on his body was torn apart, as if it had been crushed by the spiral force. Arg! One-Eyed Wolf let out a shrill scream. The fireball pierced through his body in an instant, and a bloody hole appeared on the spot. Blood was dripping, and his lungs were severely injured. The flame energy exploded, spreading throughout his body, and he was instantly surrounded by fire. His entire body was on fire, and every cell in his body was burning wildly. Chapter 973. With a thud, the instant the One-Eyed Wolf disappeared, a secret manual fell from midair. It landed on the muddy ground and gave off a white light. What is this? Xia Ping immediately noticed the existence of this secret book. He grabbed it with his big hand, producing a strong suction force, and instantly grabbed the secret book. A few big words were written on the secret book: Yang God Fist. Yang God Fist? Could it be that the saint-level fist technique displayed by this bandit leader just now is called Yang God Fist? After killing this guy, I can get a saint-level secret book? Xia Ping didn't expect that this was really a game. After killing a game character, he could actually get a treasure, and it was this kind of saint-level fist technique secret book. This was simply rich. However, this could also be a reward after completing this task. No way, Yang God Fist. You actually got this fist technique, are you kidding me? Hearing this name, Corinne seemed to be taken aback and firmly stared at this secret book. What's wrong? Have you heard of this fist technique? Xia Ping asked curiously. Corinne stared at the secret book. Yang God Fist is a fist technique possessed by a powerful sage. It is said that once he uses this fist technique, his whole body is like a sun god descending, incinerating everything. Wherever he goes, planets will be melted. This is the most yang and unyielding flame fist technique. When practiced to a high level, ordinary people simply can't get close. Once they get close, they will immediately be incinerated into ashes and vaporized on the spot. It can be said that the strength of this sage is even more terrifying than the strength of my old master. His prestige is illustrious, but since his fall, this fist technique disappeared. I don't know how many people have searched for it, but to no avail. I didn't expect to find this amazing fist technique in this novice village. He indicated that this fist technique was extremely precious. Once it was exposed, it would definitely set off huge waves in the universe, possibly causing countless experts to fight over it. Such a sage can still fall? Xia Ping was stunned. Corinne said in a deep voice, "Of course he can fall. The universe is infinite, and there are some secret places that are extremely dangerous. Even if a sage goes in, he will have a slim chance of survival." Back then, it was said that the sage went to a secret place in the universe in search of an opportunity to break through. Unfortunately, he never came out again. He probably died in that place. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Such a powerful fist technique. If I were to display it, wouldn't it be seen by others? Wouldn't it cause some big trouble? Corinne looked at this bastard with disdain. With your virtue, you are still afraid of stirring up big trouble. You are already a big trouble. Do you still need this fist technique to attract bees and butterflies? However, it's still comforted. That's not a big deal. I don't know how long that saint has been dead. He's been dead for tens of thousands of years, even longer than my old master. That is why even those who know about this fist technique of his do not know about it. I reckon that only the descendants of some ancient orthodoxies would know about it. Ordinary people would not know what it is even if they saw it. If you learn it, you won't have to worry about others finding out. Corinne originally wanted to say that this fist technique was incomparably profound and mysterious. Even if he obtained this secret book, it would not be easy to learn it. However, after thinking about it carefully, he realized that this kid was a freak. Such a powerful and complicated cultivation technique like star-guiding art was learned by this guy in just a few breaths. Now, he had even created a tyrannical fist technique called Black Vortex Ripple Fist. Moreover, it seemed to have endless potential. It was reckoned that this evildoer would not find it difficult to learn this sun god fist. Wouldn't it be very difficult to learn such a powerful cultivation technique? Xia Ping blinked his eyes and flipped through the secret book. Hearing this, the corner of Corinne's mouth couldn't help but twitch. He revealed a calm and indifferent look. It's okay. It's not difficult for those who know it, but it's not difficult for those who don't know it. It depends on fate. It seems that my fate with it should not be shallow. Xia Ping put away the secret book with satisfaction. He wanted to use the system to thoroughly learn this fist technique. At this moment, the death of the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf had thoroughly shocked many bandits. Oh my God, the leader has been killed by this guy. It's over. Even the leader is not his match. Then, aren't we just a dish? Hurry up and run, we can't stay in this place. Immediately, the group of bandits fled in fear. As the saying goes, monkeys scatter when the tree falls. Without the existence of a tyrannical leader like One-Eyed Wolf, they were just ordinary bandits. They could be annihilated at any time. Bush, bush, bush. These bandits fled very quickly. In a short while, they left the bandits' lair. They ran quite fast. Xia Ping was speechless. However, he did not chase after them. In any case, his mission was only to kill One-Eyed Wolf and not to annihilate this group of small bandits. Therefore, he was too lazy to waste his energy dealing with this group of small fries. "Ha, we finally defeated this group of bad bandits. Hee, this is really great. Sure enough, evil cannot defeat good. Quick, let's go into the bandits' lair to take a look. It is said that there are a lot of gold and silver treasures in the bandits' lair. We are going to make a fortune this time. Hurry up and rob them all." A group of children shouted excitedly. Their eyes were shining. Each and every one of them was like a small bandit, with the mentality of plucking the feathers of a goose. They rushed into the stronghold. Xia Ping also walked over to them. At this moment, with the death of One-Eyed Wolf, many bandits fled. The entire stronghold was already empty. There were empty buildings everywhere. However, the area of this stronghold was not very big. After a group of children continuously searched, after a few hours, they finally found a secret room in the stronghold. After opening the entire secret room, they immediately found a lot of gold and silver treasures. They were shining with golden light and were very valuable. A group of children excitedly rushed over and cheered endlessly. "There are really treasures." Xia Ping blinked his eyes. "However, this is the virtual world. What is the use of finding treasures in this place? They can't be taken out." Corinne seemed to see through Xia Ping's thoughts and immediately said, "These treasures are still very useful. This martial arts space is equivalent to a virtual online game. It also has its own currency, that is gold coins. With gold coins, you can buy various items in this martial arts space, including the treasures of the virtual world, as well as elixirs, and even various privileges. There are even many people who are willing to exchange universe coins for gold coins. It means that the gold and silver treasures in the virtual world are also very useful and valuable. Many people want to exchange universe coins for the gold coins in the martial arts space. About 1 universe coin is equivalent to 1 gold coin. Chapter 974. How many gold coins are here? Xia Ping looked at the treasures in the treasure house and asked Corinne. Corinne glanced at it and said, "About 1 million gold coins, which is equivalent to 1 million universe dollars." 1 million? Xia Ping's eyes suddenly lit up. He didn't expect to earn 1 million universe dollars by robbing a bandit's lair. This speed of earning money was really too fast. But thinking about it carefully, this task was also extremely difficult. Just the bandit leader with sage-level strength was enough to sweep away countless Grand Master Peak cultivators. God knows how many people had come to perform the task and wanted to kill the One-Eyed Wolf bandit, but they all left with a grievance, unable to complete it. From this, one can imagine the difficulty of this task. Only a real evildoer-level character can complete it. Moreover, compared with a sage-level fist technique like Yang God Fist, a trifling 1 million universe dollars was really too cheap. It was simply incomparable. But no matter what, this was still a large sum of money. As the saying goes, many a little makes a mickle. With another 1 million universe dollars, he would soon become a billionaire in the universe. He would be able to become rich. But how can I take away so many treasures? Xia Ping suddenly felt a little embarrassed because this was a big treasure house, and one person couldn't take so much. Even if he had enough strength, one person only had 2 hands, how could he carry so much? Don't worry, Corinne said, in the martial arts space, there is a virtual dimensional space warehouse, which is equivalent to a storage space. As long as the owner puts these treasures in the storage space, it will be fine. It indicated that this storage space was not something that anyone could have. It required a certain degree of contribution, or even a large number of gold coins, to be able to successfully open it. This was a privilege. However, this account was secretly opened by the Astral Sex Sect Master, so it already had a lot of privileges, who knows how many times better than ordinary people. He could completely put these treasures in the account's storage space and take them away at any time. He didn't need to take them back to the novice village and exchange them for gold coins with the village chief, saving a lot of trouble. So that's how it is. Xia Ping nodded. He clicked on the virtual screen and found that there was a huge virtual warehouse on his body. It was the size of 10 football fields, and he didn't know how many things it could store. It seemed that as long as he willed it, he could store the virtual items in the martial arts space into his storage space. He reckoned that if he wasn't a descendant of the astral sect, but an ordinary person, he definitely wouldn't be able to enjoy such treatment. Master, if you don't act now, these treasures will be snatched away by these children. At this time, Corinne reminded Xia Ping to pay attention to the situation. Xia Ping looked over and saw a little lowly hugging a large pile of golden necklaces. She hugged them until they were taller than her. She looked like she was drunk as she swayed. Even if she couldn't carry it, she still had to hold it. A little Shoda also had a lot of gold and silver hanging all over his body. His hands, feet, neck, and even his ears had a lot of gold necklaces. His entire body was shining with a golden light. Apart from that, the other children were also moving towards the pile of treasures, continuously stuffing things like gold bars, gold necklaces, and gems into their pockets. There was even a little demon king Loli who saw a lot of night pearls embedded in the wall. She started to tear down the wall, and with a prung 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 sound, the entire wall was broken into pieces, and then she started to loot the night pearls with satisfaction. They were just like little bandits, very skilled demolition workers. They brandished their small fists, and relying on their immense strength, they unceasingly dismantled the house and looted the treasures. It looked like they were planning to loot everything and plunder everything. In just a few minutes, the entire treasure house was in a mess. Not even a single hair was left. Even the bandit lair was demolished. Traces of destruction could be seen everywhere. The ground was cracked, and gravel was flying in all directions. "What are you doing?" Xia Ping was speechless. A little Loli excitedly said, "Native brother, we are looting the spoils of war. Later, we will take the money and go back to buy delicious food and drinks, and also a lot of toys." The other children also fiercely nodded, but they didn't speak because they didn't have a place to put their pants, and a few gold bars were stuffed in their mouths, so they could only whimper. "What toys do you want to buy? Your task is to study hard, don't think about playing all day, understand?" Xia Ping said loudly, "I will help you keep these gold and silver treasures. Put them all with me for now, and I will return them to you in the future." He wanted to take away the treasures from these children. The group of children were very determined. They protected these treasures with their lives, as if they had seen through Xia Ping's evil intentions. Once they fell into the hands of this bad guy, there would be no share for them. "How about this? This money will be our startup capital." Xia Ping's eyes turned. His first plan didn't work, so he immediately thought of another plan. In fact, this money is just a small amount. When we leave the novice village, that is when we will really start to earn big money. When that time comes, I will take you to eliminate the bandit leaders and take all their treasures back for ourselves. That is the real big business. He said that he wanted to leave the novice village with a group of children to do big business. Big business? Yes, native brother is right. The bandits in the novice village are too poor. The bandits outside of the novice village are the ones with money. We should rob them. That's right. If we are going to rob, we should rob the rich. Robbing the poor won't earn much. The group of boys and Lolis felt that what Xia Ping said was very reasonable. As compared to the bandits outside of the novice village, the bandits in the novice village were really too poor. But we are temporarily unable to leave the novice village. The Lolita, Yijia, blinked her eyes. Xia Ping immediately said, "Then all of you should hurry up and break through to the Purple Mansion realm and leave the novice village. That way, we can go out together and proclaim ourselves as kings, tyrannical tyrants, and tyrannical tyrants." That's right, we have to hurry up and break through to the Purple Mansion realm and leave the novice village. There isn't much fun in the novice village. It is too boring. Previously, I despised the tiredness of practicing martial arts. I was always lazy, slacking, and didn't like to soak in medicinal baths. It seems like I have to work harder. As long as we are diligent, we will soon break through to the Purple Mansion realm. Native brother, once we leave the novice village, you must take us to fight the bandits and split the money. The group of brats were convinced by Xia Ping. They all felt that after leaving the novice village, they would have a bright future. If they followed this native, they would definitely have a bright future. They looked at Xia Ping with eager eyes. Chapter 975. With a wave of his hand, Xia Ping immediately collected all the gold, silver, and jewelry on the ground and put them in the storage space. There was nothing valuable left on the ground, it was empty. But they didn't plan to leave the village yet, because it was getting late, so they stayed here to rest for the night and return to the novice village early tomorrow morning. The group of children were tired, so they lay down in the room that used to be abandoned and fell asleep. However, Xia Ping chose to leave the room and came to an open space outside. He was in high spirits. Even if he didn't sleep for 10 days and 10 nights, he would be fine. By the way, I should take advantage of this time to learn the Sun God Fist thoroughly. Xia Ping touched his chin. He decided to use the system to learn this saint-level fist technique to enhance his strength. Immediately, the system's voice came out. To learn the saint-level fist technique, Sun God Fist, you need to spend 300 million hatred points? What? Hearing this, Xia Ping was shocked. Although he knew that it was very expensive to learn a saint-level fist technique, he didn't expect that it would cost 300 million hatred points. This was simply an astronomical number. But after thinking about it carefully, he gritted his teeth and learned it. Anyway, the hatred points were not of much use here. It was the right way to use it to enhance his own strength. Otherwise, it would be waste paper. Rumble, in the next second, the system immediately deducted 300 million hatred points. At this time, he only had 330 million hatred points left. Immediately, a warm current poured into Xia Ping's mind. This is the Sun God Fist? Xia Ping stood where he was. He found that there was an extra figure in his mind, performing this fist technique. It was majestic, surging with yang qi, showing invincible power. Such an exquisite move fascinated him. Just now, the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf didn't even show a billionth of the power of this fist technique. Too strong. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. He felt as if he had stepped into a new realm of martial arts, mastered many secrets of flame energy, and learned a peerless flame fist technique. He found that this Sun God Fist was not only as simple as controlling flame energy, but also able to absorb and fuse all kinds of power from unusual flames, which could make it infinitely stronger. If he could find many different flames in the world and use the Yang God Fist to absorb them into his body, constantly digesting, absorbing, and transforming, the flames in his body would become even more terrifying. In the end, he would refine them into the ultimate different flames and become invincible. Back then, that ancient saint had used this fist technique to search for deviant flames all over the universe and fuse them into one. That was how he became invincible. His yang energy boiled and no one could get close to him. His body trembled, and he could instantly kill any enemy that got close to him, burning their internal organs to ashes. Any killer or assassin would have a headache when facing this saint. It was almost impossible to assassinate him. It could be said that this was an evolutionary fist technique. It could grow stronger as the user became stronger. It was almost endless. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, Xia Ping had mastered the Yang God Fist. He appeared in a vast open space outside the stronghold and began to practice this peerless fist technique. Immediately, the entire flat ground was filled with his densely packed silhouettes. They were in different shapes and sizes, and they were using different fist techniques. It was as if they were resonating with heaven and earth. Abnormal. Corinne, who was staying beside Xia Ping, was speechless. He had long known that this guy was a monster and learned things very quickly. He had learned the Starbringer art in a few breaths. However, that was only the Starbringer art. Maybe his attributes and the Starbringer art were very good, and they were a match made in heaven. That was why he learned it so quickly. Who would have thought that this saint-level fist technique would also be learned in an instant? He didn't know what to think. This was the first time he had met such a monster who didn't need the guidance of a famous teacher like him. He really didn't have a sense of accomplishment as a teacher. Bang bang bang. As Xia Ping punched out, the yang energy surged and the heat vibrated. It was as if he had transformed into a terrifying sun, emitting a dazzling golden light. The three different flames in his body, the essence of the sun, the fire of life, and the spiritual fire of the earth, seemed to fuse with each other, slowly giving birth to a more terrifying flame. Wisps of different flames emitted from his body and fell to the ground. It was like magma falling to the ground, instantly melting a huge pit, making a sizzling sound. In just a few breaths, the area within a radius of several kilometers had changed beyond recognition. The large rocks in the surroundings had been corroded into large holes, and the small mountains in the distance had collapsed due to the fist technique. The entire mountain range had been set ablaze by raging flames. It was as if this area had turned into a flaming mountain. Moreover, it was continuously burning, causing the rocks to crackle and explode, turning into powder. This cultivation lasted for the whole night. Huff! Xia Ping took a deep breath and resonated with heaven and earth, forming a strange cycle. At this moment, there seemed to be two clusters of different flames burning in his eyes. Even the air he breathed had turned into a scorching flame. All the pores on his body emitted hot air, making him look like a man on fire. He took back his breath and swallowed the flame energy of heaven and earth. Like a whale swallowing, all of it flowed into his body, entering the depths of his Dantian sea of qi, becoming his own. At this moment, Xia Ping felt the gang qi in his body trembling. The 108 meridians and many acupoints in his body were stirring, as if they had reached their limits and were about to break through. He seemed to be unprecedentedly powerful, and his martial arts foundation was solid. These different flames flowed in every corner of his body, constantly tempering his skin, bones, muscles, meridians, and other parts of his body. Obviously, this Yang God Fist was also a super fist technique to temper the body. As the fist technique continued to deepen, the Yang God Fist would slowly transform him into a Yang God body. At that time, even if he faced any flame power, he would not be afraid, and he could even devour and absorb it. I can also cultivate in this virtual network world? Xia Ping was shocked. He had discovered a shocking secret. He was clearly in the virtual world, but he was still in the virtual world. He was clearly in the virtual network world, but he found that as he circulated the technique, his body also seemed to be breathing and evolving, absorbing the mysterious energy between the universe and constantly changing his body. Somehow, his soul that was projected into the virtual network world had an incredible connection with his body. It could be said that Xia Ping was actually cultivating at the same time. What a mysterious virtual network world! As expected of the super network world created by the sages. Its mysteries are endless, attracting creatures from all over the universe to enter. The longer he stayed in this virtual network world, the more Xia Ping felt that this virtual network world was mysterious and great. It was not just a simple network world. It seemed to have a deep connection with the real world, and the two were inseparable. Chapter 976. A few days later, near the novice village, in a huge forest, many figures were moving. These were the mercenaries who were waiting for Xia Ping's return. There were a lot of them, more than 200 people. They were scattered around the forest, like shadows. Damn, where did that bastard go to carry out his mission? Why hasn't he returned after so many days? Some people were getting impatient. Although 1 day in the real world was equivalent to 10 days in the virtual world, in terms of spiritual perception, the time in the virtual world was the same as the real world. There was no difference between waiting here and waiting in the real world for a few days. What's the rush? Someone sneered. No matter how much time that kid spends completing the mission, he will eventually return. If he doesn't return to the novice village, he won't be able to leave the virtual world. In the virtual world, it was not possible to go offline at any time. Only by returning to the safety of the novice village or the city could one return to the real world. Of course, there was also a very direct way, and that was to be killed by others. This way, they could be expelled. However, no one was willing to do this. After all, the damage done was too great. It could damage the soul, making it very difficult to recover. That's right. There's no need to rush. Patience is the most important thing when hunting in the wild. Waiting for a few days is nothing. In order to kill the enemy, I once waited for a full 3 months without wavering. That's right. It's only been a few days and you're already so impatient. You're still too young. Hee. This time he completed the novice village mission, he will definitely get a lot of rewards. If we can kill this kid, maybe we can also get some benefits. This is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only can we get many benefits from the families, but we can also pick up some benefits from this kid. I heard that he has a treasure on him. It seems to be called the fire silk net. If we kill him, this treasure will also belong to us. There are so many benefits. Many people were discussing. They had already regarded Xia Ping as prey. No matter what, he would not be able to escape from their palms. They were just waiting to catch a turtle in a jar. Their eyes revealed a trace of cruelty. In order to complete the mission and achieve their goals, they were all villains. None of them were good people. However, only these villains who were willing to do anything for money would be willing to destroy their own cultivation and enter the novice village. Any cultivator with a bit of future would not want to do such a thing. In the distance, a graceful figure was leaning against a big tree. It was Yi Mengyao. She glanced at the people around her and closed her beautiful eyes without saying anything. However, her breathing produced a slight rhythm, faintly resonating with heaven and earth. With her body as the center, an invisible energy wave spread out. It was as if at this moment, the area within a radius of several dozen kilometers had turned into the calm surface of a lake. Even the slightest ripple, the slightest movement in the wind, could not escape her perception. This was close to divine instinct, a unique mystic art. Therefore, she didn't need to look around. She just needed to stay where she was, meditate, and wait for Xia Ping to come. At this time, Xia Ping and a group of children returned from the bandit encampment. After a few days and a long journey, they finally approached a forest near the novice village. Seeing that they were about to return to the novice village, they were all very excited. After all, after walking for so long, they wanted to go back and have a good rest. Native brother, be careful. Suddenly, the little lowly Yijia stopped in her tracks. She blinked her big eyes and said, I seem to sense murderous intent everywhere in the forest. It seems that there are bad guys planning to ambush us. She had an extremely keen divine instinct and could sense a trace of murderous intent. There are bad guys ambushing us? What Jia said must be true. Jia is a genius of the elves. She is the most sensitive to murderous intent. It seems that as long as there are trees, it will become the eyes and ears of the elves. It can't be hidden at all. Could it be that there are really bad guys hiding in the forest? What? Many children chattered. They believed in Yijia's words because this was a special ability of the elves. It was a large-scale perception. It was difficult for any killer to hide from them. Not to mention, Yijia was a genius among the elves. She had an excellent talent. It could be said that she was a once-in-a-thousand-years talent. No wind or grass could hide from her. Ambush. Xia Ping touched his chin. He immediately thought of the people who ambushed him before. They might be mercenaries sent by the big families. He had killed a group of them before, but they still did not give up. Maybe that group of people was not satisfied and sent another group of experts to deal with him. They are really lingering. It seems that if I don't teach them a lesson this time, they won't know what it means to learn a lesson. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He decided to kill all these mercenaries to scare the monkeys. Otherwise, these flies would come to the novice village all day to cause trouble. It would be very troublesome. Thinking of this, Xia Ping immediately said, it must be the remnants of that group of bandits. We killed the bandit leader, One-Eyed Wolf, but a large group of bandits escaped. Maybe they are not satisfied and gathered the nearby bandit groups to take revenge for their leader. He immediately framed the bandits for this matter. Hearing this, the eyes of the group of children suddenly lit up. Damn little bandits, they actually want revenge. Big Brother Native, we must catch this group of bad guys in one fell swoop. Maybe they still have treasures on them. Let's kill them and rob them clean. The group of young boys and little Lolas were all eager to get into action. They wanted to kill all these bandits, get rid of evil for the people, and at the same time, plunder the treasures. Don't be anxious. Xia Ping first restrained the group of mischievous children. He touched his chin, and a trace of light appeared in his eyes. He said, "These bandits have a lot of people. If we go rashly, we will definitely fall into their ambush. But we can break them one by one, catch all these bandits in one fell swoop, and rob them of their treasures." He wanted to secretly ambush them. Since these bandits wanted to ambush them, then they could also ambush them and give them a taste of their own medicine. Ambush? The group of children blinked their eyes, very interested in Xia Ping's proposal. They felt that this was a fun game, similar to soldiers catching thieves. Chapter 977. At that moment, in a corner of the forest. Strange, there's movement. Could it be that Wu Wuti is back? I'm not sure, but let's go and take a look. If it's Wu Wuti, we'll be rich. Suddenly, the mercenaries guarding this place sensed that there were figures moving in the forest in front of them. Immediately, more than a dozen mercenaries perked up. They felt that they had caught a big fish. Immediately, more than a dozen of them joined forces and carefully surrounded the enemy from all directions, sealing off any gaps that the enemy could escape. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen mercenaries passed through the forest and arrived at a flat ground. They were all ready to attack the enemy. However, when they saw the scene in front of them clearly, they were all stunned. The figures on the flat ground were 5 or 6 small children playing, not Wu Wuti. What's going on? Why is there a group of children here? One of the mercenaries was stunned. He had thought that it was Wu Wuti, the bitch. He did not expect a group of children to appear here. The contrast between the two sides was too great, and he was a little at a loss. Stupid. This is the novice village, a place like a kindergarten. It's not strange to have children here. The problem is that this is the wilderness. They should stay in the village. So what if it's the wilderness? Can't you let them out for a walk? But we've been watching the novice village closely. There are no signs of anyone entering or leaving. Indeed, it is a strange thing. The dozen mercenaries were confused. They did not know what was going on, but when they saw that it was a group of children, they relaxed a lot. After all, they were not enemies like Wu Wuti, so they did not need to be fully vigilant. Little friends, where did you come from? A mercenary with a scar on his face smiled kindly and asked the group of children, wanting to know where they came from. We came with the Aboriginal brother. A little Lolita said angrily. Aboriginal brother? Many mercenaries were even more confused. They did not know what the little girl was talking about. Could it be a child's nickname or something else? The scar-faced mercenary continued to ask, "Who is this Aboriginal brother? Where is he?" "It's right behind you." Little Loli pointed behind them honestly. What? The mercenaries were shocked, and their hearts skipped a beat. When they turned around, they saw a figure rushing toward them at a speed 8 times the speed of sound. A terrifying aura of fire emerged from the figure. His entire being was like a sun. It was as if even the air around him was burning up, turning him into a world of flames. All of their hair stood on end as they felt an unprecedented threat. They could feel a terrifying killing intent from this figure that covered every cell in their bodies. Wu Wuti! A mercenary saw the face of this figure and immediately screamed. However, this scream was also the first and last scream he would make in this place. Xia Ping threw a punch and used the Yang God fist. A dozen or so fist prints appeared in the air and all of them landed on the mercenaries, sealing off any space to dodge. In the blink of an eye, these mercenaries had no time to defend themselves. Their entire bodies were blasted into pieces by the terrifying fist force, and they were even engulfed in flames. In just a breath's time, they turned into a white light and disappeared. Clatter, as these mercenaries were all killed, a large number of items fell from the air. These were the treasures that the mercenaries carried. Now that they were dead, they would naturally fall. This was also one of the reasons why many cultivators were afraid of dying in the virtual world. Not only would it hurt their souls, but they would also drop all their equipment and treasures upon death. The treasures that they had painstakingly accumulated over a long period of time would fall and benefit others. It was precisely because of this rule that killing between each other was very prevalent in the entire martial arts space. There were often many specialized killers who would specifically target some fat sheep and kill them to obtain a large number of treasures. It could be said that almost every cultivator walking in the wild was treading on thin ice. Without a large number of people, they would not dare to go out for fear of being ambushed by the enemy and having all their treasures taken away. This was also the novice village, a place to learn. Moreover, everyone was a child, so there were no fierce battles between them. Therefore, similar things rarely happened. Wow, so many treasures. As expected of the bad mountain bandits, they have so many gold and silver treasures on them. A young boy shouted excitedly as he picked up the treasures on the ground. The other children were also very excited. They felt that they had won a battle and were like heroes, killing these evil mountain bandits and obtaining a large number of treasures. Not bad, you guys did a very good job as bait this time. Xia Ping was very satisfied. Later, if you guys act according to the plan, we will be able to catch all these evil mountain bandits in one fell swoop and make a fortune. He praised the performance of these little monsters just now, which was quite realistic and lowered the vigilance of this group of people. Then, he attacked from behind and caught the group of bandits off guard. As a result, the group of bandits were instantly killed by him when they were unprepared. Don't worry, native brother, those mountain bandits can't escape. That's right, we will quickly kill these mountain bandits in one fell swoop. The treasures on them belong to us. Each of the children shouted excitedly, wanting to kill all these mountain bandits. They are really poor, each of them only has treasures worth 100,000 universe dollars. Xia Ping looked at the treasures on the ground and let Corinne calculate the value. He immediately curled his lips, indicating that this group of people were simply poor ghosts. Killing one of them would only get 100,000 universe dollars worth of treasures. If that group of mercenaries heard this, they would definitely be furious. This bastard thinks that it is so easy to make money in the universe. Ordinary people fight to the death just to get food and clothing. Usually, they need to buy elixirs, tyrannical weapons, and even apprentice to a master to learn skills and buy secret books. Which one of them doesn't need money and universe dollars? Being able to have 100,000 universe dollars in savings can be considered as saving. God knows how long they have been living frugally to save up. In the universe, they can already be regarded as a well-off family. But this shameless bastard actually dared to look down on them as poor ghosts. He is really looking down on people too much. It is really true that dog meat stinks in a luxurious house, but there are frozen bones on the road. Isn't this a shadow thunder bomb? Chapter 978. Underworld Lightning Bomb? What is that? Hearing the little lowly's words, Xia Ping instinctively felt that these durian-like things were not simple. I heard from my sister that this is a very terrifying weapon. Once it explodes, it can erupt with the power of endless underworld lightning, forming a chain of lightning. Once it explodes, it will pierce through the protective aura. Many cultivators could not withstand the power of the explosion and were instantly blown into nothingness. The little lowly Yijia said that this was what she heard from her sister. Underworld lightning bomb. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. He reckoned that this was a terrible bomb specially used to deal with cultivators in the universe. The reason why ordinary missiles and even nuclear bombs could not kill grandmasters or king realm cultivators was because the power of the explosion could not break through the cultivator's protective aura. However, this underworld lightning bomb was different. It was specially used to break through the cultivator's protective aura. Once it exploded, the cultivator's protective aura would be useless and would be torn apart in an instant. In this way, the cultivator's body would be exposed to the powerful power of the bomb. There was absolutely no reason for him to survive. They actually have 15 of these underworld lightning bombs? It seems that they are very well prepared. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He immediately knew that these guys must have prepared a weapon to deal with him. They knew that it was difficult to defeat him with force alone, so they thought of using various powerful artifacts or other sinister methods to plot against him and put him to death. If he had not ambushed in advance and killed this group of slayers, it was estimated that he would be the unlucky one. If 15 underworld lightning bombs exploded at the same time, even if his force was tyrannical, it was estimated that he would not be able to withstand the power of such an explosion. He would be blown to death on the spot. There was no reason for him to survive. All right, these underworld lightning bombs have fallen into my hands. It is your turn to be unlucky. Xia Ping originally thought that it would take a lot of effort to kill so many slayers. However, since he had these underworld lightning bombs, it was a lot easier to deal with them. He wanted to let this group of slayers taste the bitter fruit of their own actions. Oh no, native brother, it seems that there are a lot of bad guys surrounding us. The little lowly Yijiajia's expression changed. She sensed that there were many powerful auras surrounding the surrounding forest. It seemed that the deaths of the dozen mercenaries had attracted the attention of countless mercenaries in the forest. As a result, they swarmed over and rushed over at an extremely fast speed. Xia Ping had already expected this. After all, this was the virtual world. If they died here, they would return to the real world and immediately notify the others. In this way, the news of his appearance would be exposed, and there would be no way to hide it. However, this was also within his expectations. This was a plan to alert the enemy. It's fine. Let them come. This time, I'm going to catch all these bandits in one fell swoop. You guys follow behind me and kill these bad guys. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, indicating that this was nothing. Yes. A group of young boys and little Lolis were eager to give it a try. They did not have the slightest bit of fear. They simply wanted to see the world in chaos. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A few minutes later, the wind whistled through the forest, and more than 100 figures appeared. In an instant, they surrounded the area and arrived in front of Xia Ping and the others. They received news that Wu Wudi had appeared and killed more than a dozen of their companions. They immediately rushed over excitedly, not caring about anything else. Haha, after waiting for a few days, this kid, Wu Wudi, has finally appeared. This time, I want to see where this guy can run to. We must kill this kid. He made us wait for so long. This is a big crime. Many mercenaries laughed sinisterly. They all felt like they were about to complete their mission. As long as they could kill this kid, they would be able to earn a lot and obtain endless benefits. Wait, what's going on? Why are there so many children here? Originally, they wanted to immediately attack when they saw Xia Ping and completely kill this kid with lightning speed. However, when they arrived, they found that there were more than a dozen children besides Xia Ping. Immediately, they were in a state of confusion and did not dare to act rashly. Don't be impulsive. These children are the direct descendants of the major families. They are of noble status. If even a single hair of theirs is lost, I'm afraid we will have to bear the consequences. The group of mercenaries had ugly expressions. It was not a problem for them to kill Wu Wudi, but the problem was that they were afraid of hurting this group of children in the process of fighting. At that time, they would offend the big shots of the major families. They were afraid that they would be in trouble. Jia, didn't she go to school? Why is she here? In the distance, a graceful figure also appeared in the crowd. It was Yimenya. She immediately found that her sister, Yijia, was also in the crowd. She was shocked. She clearly remembered that her sister should have gone to school, and it was impossible for her to enter the martial arts space. However, she quickly thought that her sister must have skipped class. Otherwise, she would not have appeared here. Despicable. Someone immediately cursed. No wonder this bastard didn't escape when he knew we were coming. It turns out that he took this group of children as hostages. He has nothing to fear. Relying on the fact that he has hostages in his hands, he is sure that we will not dare to do anything to him. He immediately saw through Xia Ping's sinister intentions. He was definitely planning to use this group of noble children as his shield to threaten them. Once they dared to make a move, these children would definitely suffer. They might even be killed by this shameless person. Although dying in the virtual world was not real death, dying once would damage one's soul. No one knew how long and how many resources it would take to make up for it. It was completely conceivable how angry the big families who regarded these children as the pearls in their palms would be when they found out about this matter. Small fries like them would definitely bear the brunt of the impact. They might even become the punching bags of these families. At that time, they could forget about money. They should think about how to save their lives. Shameless. He actually took children as hostages. Does he have any shame? Don't worry, everyone. Does he think he can threaten us like this? He must be dreaming. That's right. We must not let this shameless person succeed. Once we find a chance, we will kill this kid. Many mercenaries gritted their teeth. Their eyes were very fierce. Although they did not dare to act rashly at this time, they were all very angry and wanted to find a chance to kill Xia Ping. Boom! Chapter 979. What? These mercenaries did not expect such a sudden turn of events. A huge net immediately emerged from the ground and instantly enveloped dozens of people. Without a doubt, this was definitely a trap set up by that despicable Wu Wudi to capture all of them in one fell swoop. They did not even notice this and immediately fell into the trap. Treasured artifact, fire silkworm net. Someone shouted. Obviously, he recognized this treasured artifact. It was the famous fire silkworm net. As soon as it appeared, a terrible flame condensed on every thread. It covered the sky and covered the earth, leaving the mercenaries with almost no room to fight back. The surrounding temperature rose sharply, as if even the air had begun to burn. With every breath, they felt as if their lungs were being roasted by the scorching heat, as if they were about to be cooked. Under Xia Ping's control, the power of the fire silkworm net increased by more than several times. Damn it! Many mercenaries attacked one after another, bombarding the big net. However, it was useless. This big net was too tough. It was not something that a grandmaster could destroy. On the contrary, the more they attacked, the more the big net shrank. It moved closer to the center, as if it wanted to wrap these mercenaries who had stepped into the trap and burn them alive. No, Wu Wudi, you can't do this. Despicable and shameless guy, if you have the guts, don't use the treasured artifact. Let's fight for 300 rounds. Wu Wudi, hurry up and stop. Do you want to become enemies with us? If you dare to attack, we will not rest until one of us is dead. A group of mercenaries shouted in horror. None of them had thought of this. They thought they could easily kill this bastard. They did not expect to fall into his trap the moment they met and fall into a dead end. They all screamed in horror, trying to intimidate Xia Ping and make him stop. Burn. Xia Ping could not be bothered with the sorrowful cries of this group of homeless dogs. They dared to come and kill him. Did they think that they could coexist peacefully? Even if they did not come to find trouble with him, he would find trouble with them. Did they really think that he had no temper? Rumble. In an instant, after receiving Xia Ping's infusion of earth energy, the fire silkworm net immediately exploded. The terrifying power of leaf fire burned, and clusters of flames ignited in midair, staining the mercenaries. Ah! These mercenaries immediately let out shrill screams. Because the virtual world was almost a complete simulation of the real world, the sense of smell, hearing, vision, and even pain were 100% in sync with reality. When they were burned by the leaf fire, it was as if their bones were being incinerated. Every cell in their body was burning, and every nerve in their body was aching. It was as if they had fallen into an endless flaming hell. This was an inhumane torture. A few seconds later, these people could not withstand the power of the leaf fire and were all burned to ashes. They turned into beams of white light and were expelled from the virtual world. This trap alone had killed dozens of people, and almost a quarter of the mercenaries had disappeared. Bastard, you actually dared to kill my brother. Let's go together and destroy this slut. I want to skin him alive and pull out his tendons. You bastard! Now that you don't have the fire silkworm net, I want to see where you can jump to. The remaining mercenaries were furious when they saw this. They were burning with anger because things had happened too quickly. From the time Xia Ping started to attack until these mercenaries were burned alive, only a dozen seconds had passed. In such a short time, even if they wanted to go forward and rescue them, they would not be able to do so in time. They could only watch helplessly as their peers were burned to death and expelled from the virtual world. However, Xia Ping's actions could be said to have completely angered them. One by one, they went crazy and seemed to have lost their minds as they rushed towards Xia Ping. Some of them held a big saber like a tank, as if they were going to split Mount Hua. This was a Blade Dao Grandmaster. Some of them held a long spear. The spear radiance was like lightning. When the spear stabbed out, it seemed as if it was about to tear the sky apart. Some of them held a giant hammer with unparalleled strength, like a prehistoric giant. When the hammer struck, it seemed as if the whole earth would collapse. These mercenaries were also considered ruthless in the universe. Each of them killed people like flies and would do anything for money. This had also created a body of ruthlessness that made them invincible. Now that they had joined forces at the same time, the power that erupted from them had reached an astonishing level. It was like a crushing torrent, and any Grandmaster Realm cultivator would be instantly turned into powder. Go to hell. Xia Ping did not even look at them. He immediately threw the 15 shadow thunder bombs he had on him. They landed right in the middle of the crowd, instantly detonating the 15 shadow thunder bombs. Oh no, why does this bastard have shadow thunder bombs on him? This is too despicable. How dare he use shadow thunder bombs? Where is the spirit of a warrior? Hurry up and dodge. This shadow thunder bomb is too powerful. We can't fight it head-on. Many menacing mercenaries saw the shadow thunder bombs being thrown at them. They were so scared that their faces turned green. They immediately turned from ferocious lions into panicked rabbits and quickly fled into the distance. There was no other way. The power of the shadow thunder bomb was too terrifying. It specialized in breaking through the protective upstanding chi and killing the enemy invisibly. It was not something that a Grandmaster Realm cultivator could withstand. Those who dared to stand in the center of the explosion would only end up dead. There was no hope of survival. However, it was too late. No matter how fast they ran, how could they outrun the speed of the bomb explosion? Rumble, the 15 shadow thunder bombs exploded at the same time. In an instant, there were countless silver thunderbolts in the air. They were like thunder snakes, dancing wildly and spreading in all directions. The power of such an explosion was simply earth-shattering. There seemed to be only the silver light left between heaven and earth. It was extremely dazzling. A mushroom cloud rose into the air. In just an instant, the protective upstanding chi on these mercenaries was torn to pieces like paper. It could not withstand the explosive power of the shadow thunder bomb at all. Ah! Many mercenaries let out shrill screams. Their bodies were torn apart in an instant and exploded into pieces. They soon died and were expelled out of the virtual world. Huge craters with a diameter of tens of meters appeared on the ground. Soil flew everywhere, and trees in the distance were charred by the electricity. Huge rocks were also blown to smithereens, and the area was charred black. The scene was very messy. This explosion alone sent almost 100 people to hell. Only a quarter of the mercenaries were left at the scene. In other words, 3/4 of the mercenaries were killed by Xia Ping in the trap and the explosion just now. Crash. Chapter 980. Not bad. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He had wanted to test the power of the shadow lightning bomb, but he did not expect it to produce an unexpected result. It killed a large number of enemies in an instant. It was the mercenaries' fault for not being vigilant. They did not know that Xia Ping had a treasure like the shadow lightning bomb, so they swarmed over and gathered together. The result was obvious. The power of the shadow lightning bomb was fully displayed. The mercenaries in the center of the explosion died immediately. They did not even have time to struggle before they were killed on the spot. Damn it, this guy actually has a shadow lightning bomb? Where did he find it? Seeing a group of companions die, a mercenary's face turned extremely gloomy. Another mercenary shouted angrily, "Who cares? If he dares to use it, we will use it too. Immediately attack and blow this bastard up." He wanted to take revenge for his companions who had been killed. Although the shadow lightning bomb was very precious and expensive, they also had it on them. No, there is a group of children there. They are all descendants of big families. If we use the shadow lightning bomb, we will definitely kill them. Many people immediately refused. This was because Xia Ping had many children by his side. These were all children of the great clans, treasures that they were afraid of melting in the palm of their hands. If they were killed by the Yin lightning bombs, one could imagine how angry the great clans would be. Even if they died, they could not let a single hair of theirs fall. Despicable. He actually used a group of children as his shield. He wants us to be cautious. I guess this bastard has calculated this. That's why he kept the group of children around him. His goal is to scare us. Bastard, even if we can't use the shadow lightning bomb, we can still kill him with our bare hands. Yes, let's attack together and beat him half to death. After we capture him, I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. I don't want him to die so quickly in the virtual world. Many of the mercenaries gritted their teeth, their faces filled with ferocious expressions. This bastard Wu Wudi had caused them to lose all hope. They had surrounded him, but they had fallen into a deadly trap. This was simply a slap to their faces. If so many people besieged them and they still could not deal with a scammer, how many people would believe in their ability to do things in the future? Perhaps no one would ask them for help in the future. This was a fatal blow to their reputation. Wait, that kid is coming. All of a sudden, someone roared. He immediately discovered that Xia Ping, who had been waiting in place, had rushed up and was charging towards them. What? Many of the mercenaries were shocked. No one thought that this kid would dare to do such a thing. Even though more than half of their people had been killed, there were still at least a dozen of them in this place. They still had the advantage of numbers. But this brat actually dared to come here alone. He was simply audacious to the extreme. Not good, that group of children is also coming. Many mercenaries were dumbfounded. Behind Xia Ping, there were a dozen or so children. They were all very excited. The small figure was like a cannonball, bringing with it a violent storm. The surrounding air condensed into substance as it rushed over, like a violent storm descending. At this time, they suddenly remembered that this was the novice village. The strongest cultivators were at the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. There was no one who had reached the Purple Mansion realm. Although these children were young, they were all little monsters. They could be said to be invincible among those of the same level. Even if they had more experience than these children, they might not be able to defeat these little monsters. Bad bandits, disappear for me. The little girl, Yi Jiajia, shouted excitedly, waving her little fists. Her whole body was like a cub of a divine beast. Her pink fist contained dozens of tons of power, and one punch could smash a mountain. A mercenary was caught off guard. His abdomen was punched by the little girl, piercing on the spot. The terrible strength shook thousands of times. His whole body instantly exploded, and the next second, he disappeared from this virtual world. Bad bandits, your treasures are mine. A little boy with a horn on his head also shouted. His whole body was like a violent fire dragon. He directly spewed out purple flames from his mouth, which were full of destructive aura. This was a barbaric bull star. His small body contained the power of the primordial barbaric bull. At the same time, he was born with the ability to control flames. When it burst out, it was enough to destroy everything. Immediately, several bandits were hit by the flames and burned to ashes in a few breaths. Xiao Dong, don't fight. These bandits are going to be killed by me. A little boy with a pair of transparent wings on his back also flew up. He was from the heavenly winged planet and was born with the ability to fly. He was known as the Sky Race and had the fastest speed in the universe. In an instant, his body flickered, and the transparent wings on his back flapped. Immediately, dozens of condensed wind blades attacked, cutting a bandit into dozens of pieces in an instant. In addition, some of these little monsters used the power of ice, freezing a bandit into ice. Some used the power of thunder, summoning dozens of lightning bolts, electrocuting several bandits into charcoal. Some had a third eye. His mysterious third eye burst out with destructive light, instantly piercing a person's forehead and causing his head to explode on the spot. Damn brat. Seeing this happen, many mercenaries showed signs of anger out of humiliation. Being suppressed and beaten up like this, even a clay figurine would get angry. Although the other party was a descendant of a big family, they were all villains. They were used to being lawless. How could they bear such humiliation? Even if the other party was a child on the battlefield, everyone was an enemy. There was no room for mercy. Anyway, this is a virtual world. If they die, they'll just be expelled. Little brat, don't blame the adults. This time, I'm just showing you the cruelty of the world in advance. Do it, don't hold back. Kill these children. Many of the mercenaries gritted their teeth. They decided not to hold back anymore and would not have any scruples. Otherwise, they would all be killed in this place. Suddenly, 7 or 8 mercenaries with long swords in their hands rushed over. All of them had scars on their faces, and their eyes showed cruelty. They killed people like flies. With a slash of their swords, extremely vicious sword chi erupted, wanting to cut the group of children into dozens of pieces. You want to attack them? Have you asked for my permission? At this moment, Xia Ping rushed out from behind like a god of fire, punching out. Saint Martial Arts, Sun God Fist. This punch was like the sun, emitting a brilliant golden light. Yang Qi flourished and flames boiled. It seemed to evaporate the water vapor within a 10-kilometer radius in an instant. Bang! Bang! Chapter 981. Ah! Immediately, 7 or 8 mercenaries holding long swords were sent flying by the fist force. The long swords in their hands were shattered into more than a dozen pieces by the powerful fist force, turning into a pile of scrap metal. The terrifying and scorching gang chi even spread to their bodies and entered their internal organs. It's so hot! The mercenaries screamed. They felt as if their bodies had entered a pool of molten lava and were being baptized by it. Every cell in their bodies was being burned by the flames. This feeling was like a vengeful ghost encountering the extreme energy of the sun. It was like meeting their natural enemy. It felt like ice and snow were melting, and even their souls were about to be burned to ashes. In a few breaths' time, their bodies turned into ashes and disappeared from the virtual world. How can he be so strong? Many mercenaries were shocked. Previously, Xia Ping had only used the power of the trap to kill a large number of strong enemies. He had not shown much of his strength. They thought that this kid only knew how to use some tricks. If he fought with real weapons, he would definitely not be a match for them, who had killed for God knows how long. However, who would have thought that Xia Ping would be able to kill 7 or 8 extremely powerful mercenaries with just one punch? He was simply sweeping through a large area and was invincible. Native Big Brother, you're so powerful. Quick, kill these despicable mountain bandits. You still want to bully us? No way. A group of children cheered and looked at Xia Ping in admiration. These mountain bandits were all very ferocious. Just now, they had almost encountered danger. Fortunately, Xia Ping had acted in time and killed these mountain bandits who tried to hurt them with one punch. They all cheered at the side. At the same time, they wanted to kill these bad mountain bandits even more. Damn it, kill this bastard first. Someone shouted with an ugly expression. He felt that it was better to kill this scourge, Xia Ping. This was because this guy was many times more threatening than the children. He was like a shark in the sea. With one leap, countless small fish and shrimp would be eaten. He was extremely ferocious. If they did not kill this kid, they would not be able to harm the other children. As the saying went, to catch the bandits, first catch the leader. This was the principle. Immediately, a middle-aged man with a trident charged over. He was 3 meters tall and looked like a god of war. With a swing of his trident, it tore through the air. It contained a tyrannical penetrative power, as if it could pierce through a mountain. There was also a fatty who weighed 400 to 500 kilograms. When he ran, he was like a row mountain, shaking the heaven and earth. In his hand was a metal rake that emitted waves of cold light. Although he was fat, his movements were extremely nimble. The rake ruthlessly smashed towards Xia Ping from the sky. Dozens of frightening chi forces appeared and condensed into substance, instantly surrounding Xia Ping's body. There was also a well-built young man with a sinister expression on his face. He wielded a spear that was over 3 meters long, and he looked like Zhang Fei himself. He strode forward with a majestic gait as he displayed a peerless spear technique. Suddenly, the sky was filled with layers of spear shadows. Each shadow of the spear contained terrifying penetrative power. It was like a god-slaying spear that could tear through any defense. The most frightening was still standing in the distance. A man in green clothes held a longbow in his hand. He was like Ho-Yi descending from the heavens. He aimed at Xia Ping and shot an arrow from hundreds of meters away. This arrow contained his essence, chi, and spirit. It was extremely fast, and the surrounding air was not disturbed at all. This was an extremely frightening assassination arrow. In just a few breaths, more than 10 experts attacked at the same time, wanting to kill Xia Ping. Killing intent was everywhere, and Xia Ping had no chance to escape at all. Black Vortex Ripple Fist. Facing these people's attacks, a cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He immediately used the fist technique that he had just created. He took a step forward and suddenly punched. Immediately, with his fist as the center, a terrifying vortex with a diameter of dozens of meters formed. The surrounding air was crazily rotating in a clockwise direction at an extremely fast speed. Even the air within a radius of more than 10 kilometers rippled, like the calm surface of a lake being stirred by a stone. Circles of ripples spread in all directions, affecting everyone. And this terrifying vortex devoured the surrounding light, forming a black vortex. It was like a black hole that was rotating rapidly, creating an extremely frightening phenomenon. The attacks of more than 10 mercenaries bombarded the black vortex. In an instant, the black vortex devoured all the power, leaving nothing behind. Impossible! What kind of fist technique is this? Many mercenaries were shocked, and their eyes almost popped out. They found that their attacks with all their strength were useless against this black vortex. No matter how terrifying their attack power was, it was completely devoured. Even the shocking arrow that was shot from afar could not escape the power of the vortex. It was sucked into the black hole and was completely destroyed in a few breaths, leaving nothing behind. Die. Xia Ping did not waste any time talking to these mercenaries. He punched with his left fist, shook it, and exploded. Bang, bang. In mid-air, there were continuous sounds of air explosions. Heavy punches containing the power of the vortex and penetrative power bombarded the bodies of the nearby mercenaries. Oh no! These mercenaries were shocked. Their hair stood on end as they felt extreme danger. Every cell in their body became alert, reminding themselves that they had encountered great danger. But how could they escape from Xia Ping's punch? It arrived in an instant, breaking through the sound barrier by 10 times, and bombarded the bodies of these mercenaries. Rumble, in an instant the protective aura of their bodies was like a piece of paper. It was penetrated by the vortex and torn into countless pieces, layer by layer, penetrating into every corner of their bodies. One by one, these mercenaries let out miserable screams. Their internal organs had been penetrated by the spiral energy and were completely destroyed. Their entire bodies exploded just like that. Soon, they disappeared from this virtual world. And you don't even think of running. Xia Ping stared at the mercenary who shot the arrow from afar. Assassins like this were the most dangerous. If they were not careful, they could be hit, so he wanted to be the first to kill them. Kuan-Peng steps. His figure flickered, and a pair of transparent wings grew on his back. The air vibrated, and he moved hundreds of meters in an instant, directly arriving near the archer. Oh no! The archer's face turned pale. He did not expect that this kid would be so fast. In the blink of an eye, he was next to him. How could he escape? Boom! Chapter 982. What? Almost all of them were killed. After Xia Ping killed the archer, there were only a few mercenaries left. Almost half of the mercenaries had been killed by Xia Ping, and more than half of the mighty crowd had disappeared. Are you kidding me? The remaining mercenaries could not help but gulp. Their bodies trembled. Previously, they had been arrogant and thought that it would be easy for them to kill Wu Wudi because they had the advantage in numbers. As long as they waited for the kid to appear, they would definitely be able to kill him. However, only a short time had passed, and the kid had used some despicable methods to make more than half of their people disappear. They had suffered heavy losses. He had even used his tyrannical strength to clean up the remaining defeated mercenaries, not giving them a chance to breathe. This method was too cruel. It's over. Is there no one who can stop this bastard? The remaining defeated mercenaries gritted their teeth and looked at Xia Ping. They were so angry that their bodies trembled. They knew that their mission was most likely over. Just now, so many of them had joined forces, but they were still no match for the kid. What was the use of the old and weak like them? Xia Ping had wanted to attack and kill all the remaining mercenaries, but suddenly, his hair stood on end. A strong sense of danger spread throughout his body. His mental strength spread out, covering a radius of dozens of kilometers. He immediately sensed a green light coming from a few kilometers away. It broke through the sound barrier by 10 times. It was silent and seemed to be one with the air. It kept spinning in the air, containing an extreme murderous aura. It was aimed at his heart and shot toward him. This was an energy arrow. There's an archer? A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. The earth energy in his body had almost reached its limit. His figure flashed, and he moved dozens of meters away from his original position. The arrow flashed and disappeared, shooting into the distance. In an instant, it hit a stone mountain in the distance. With a bang, the stone mountain was immediately pierced through, creating a frighteningly large hole. Gravel flew in all directions, and cracking sounds could be heard. Dozens of cracks seemed to appear on the entire mountain. Amazing! Xia Ping could feel that this hidden archer was 10 times more terrifying than the one he had just killed. If it weren't for his sharp divine sense, he would have been killed by this arrow long ago. He looked into the distance and immediately saw a graceful figure standing on a small hill several kilometers away. She held a green bow in her hand, and an arrow was nocked. Her face was covered by a black veil, and her face could not be seen clearly. However, it could be seen that the other party was a woman with an excellent figure. Her whole body was emitting a cold aura. This woman was obviously Yi Mengyao. Originally, she stayed in the crowd and wanted to observe the situation, but she didn't expect things to happen so quickly. In such a short time, Xia Ping killed a large number of mercenaries, leaving her no chance to assassinate him. But that did not matter. After all, she did not want to rely on this group of trash to deal with Wu Wudi. This time, she would personally take action and completely destroy this despicable liar to seek justice for her sister. Xiao xiao xiao. Die. Yi Mingyao's face was expressionless. Her clothes fluttered without any wind, and an inexplicable aura surged from her body. It was as if she had reached the realm of being one with heaven and man, becoming one with nature. The moment her essence, qi, and spirit reached a high degree of unity, she immediately attacked, shooting arrows continuously. In a few breaths, the sky was filled with arrows. There were at least 100 of them densely packed together. These arrows were condensed from earth energy and were incomparably sharp. They sealed off almost every space Xia Ping had to dodge. What was even more terrifying was that these arrows had locked onto Xia Ping's aura. Like tracking arrows, they could move freely in the air, twisting and turning. They were extremely mysterious and vicious. So powerful. This woman is definitely a godly archer. Could it be a godly archer from the elven race? It's said that their use of bows and arrows has reached the acme of perfection. Sage-level archers can even shoot down powerful enemies across a star field. A random arrow from them can blow up a space battleship. Yes, I have also heard of the power of the elves' archers. They are known as the assassins of the universe. Once you encounter them, as long as the other party keeps a distance, you will definitely die. The longbow in that woman's hand is also not simple. It must be a treasured weapon. The remaining mercenaries were well informed. They could all see that the strength of this archer was extraordinary. It was not something that the previous mercenaries could compare with. This was a true monster-level expert. Moreover, the other party was also holding a treasured weapon, which increased her attack power by several times. Dark North Body Protection Technique. Feeling the threat of hundreds of arrows, Xia Ping immediately activated the Dark North Body Protection Technique. He took a step forward, and a Kuan-Peng rose behind him. With his body as the center, it formed a vortex black hole, and the air shield gushed out. The Kuan-Peng opened its big mouth and produced a terrifying suction force. It swallowed everything in an instant and enveloped all of the hundreds of surveillance. Bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, these arrows were shattered into pieces by the Dark North Body Protection Technique and exploded in midair. Huh! It has such a strong penetrating power. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. Although he activated the Dark North Body Protection Technique and shattered all the power of these arrows. However, he felt a burst of difficulty because these arrows contained a terrifying penetrating power and specialized in breaking through the protective aura. If it wasn't for the Dark North Body Protection Technique being extremely strong, but an ordinary body protection technique, he would have been pierced by an arrow long ago, and there would be no hope of survival. What's going on? My tracking arrow was actually blocked by this damn liar. What kind of body protection technique is this? Yi Mengyao was also surprised. She was extremely confident in her own race's archery cultivation technique. Ordinary cultivators could shoot through their bodies with one arrow. Even if it was 1 against 100, she was still not afraid. As long as there was enough distance, she could shoot a lot of them. Even if the other party's movement technique was excellent, it was useless against the tracking arrow. It would automatically track the enemy's aura and constantly change the angle of flight in midair until it shot the enemy. But she didn't expect that this kid didn't have any intention of dodging at all. He directly used the body protection technique to resist it. This was a bit abnormal. It was the first time she saw someone of the same level who relied on the body protection technique to resist her tracking arrow. This made her a little surprised. She felt that this swindler did have some ability. No wonder so many mercenaries joined forces, but they were still no match for this kid. Instead, they were beaten to a pulp. It's great to have a tortoise shell. See how I completely shoot your tortoise shell. Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. She didn't believe that her arrows couldn't penetrate the body protection technique of this damn liar. Chapter 983. Boom! At this moment, Yi Mingyao's beautiful eyes suddenly changed. As if there was a nebula rotating, her body emitted a gray aura, merging into the void. At this moment, she seemed to have transcended this space. Hidden in the invisible, the spiritual force spread out, permeating every corner of the void, spreading for dozens of kilometers. Shio! A gray energy arrow immediately shot out. It had almost no shape and did not disturb any airflow. It was like an arrow from the sky, silent and invisible. Moreover, its speed reached an astonishing level. In a few breaths, it arrived in front of Xia Ping. What archery is this? Xia Ping's pupils shrank, and the sense of crisis in his body rose to the extreme. He felt as if he had been targeted by a king, and all his divine sense seemed to have failed. He could feel that this gray energy arrow contained an extremely terrifying penetrating power, as if it could even penetrate space. If he were to resist it head-on, even his Dark North body protection technique might not be able to withstand it. Xia Ping immediately used the Kuan-Peng step, and transparent wings grew on his back. At the critical moment, he dodged in time and moved 100 meters horizontally, just in time to avoid the arrow. With a thump, the gray energy arrow flew into the distance, piercing through more than a dozen mountains in a row without making a sound. A fist-sized hole appeared in each of the mountains. The surroundings were very smooth, as if the stones had been instantly obliterated and turned into powder. The surrounding rocks were not shattered. It could be imagined that this gray energy arrow's energy was highly condensed, and almost no trace of it leaked out. It had a strong penetrating power, which was why it could cause such terrifying lethality. This chick has some ability. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He could be considered to have seen a true expert in the universe. Just this archery skill alone was enough to dominate the world. You can even dodge the void shooting technique, and you're still not dead? Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth, but this is only the first arrow. I don't believe you can dodge many arrows. You dare to bully my sister. Hurry up and die. She didn't intend to give Xia Ping any chance to breathe. She wanted to shoot this liar with the power of thunder so that she could vent the anger in her heart and take revenge. Bad bandit, don't bully the native brother. Yes, everyone together, kill this female bandit. Together. At this time, a group of children saw that Xia Ping was in danger. They also attacked from all directions, pouncing towards Yi Mengyao at an extremely fast speed. This was especially so for Yi Jiajia. She bravely volunteered with a flushed face. She waved her little fists, wanting to get rid of this female bandit. It was as if she was a heroine saving a handsome man. What? Yi Mengyao's expression changed. She didn't expect that this group of brats would cause trouble for her at such a critical moment. Immediately, her hand that was holding the bow was unable to move. After all, the people in front of her were a group of children, and they all had a good relationship with each other. She could not kill them. Most importantly, her younger sister was among them. If she made a move and hurt her precious younger sister, she would probably blame herself for the rest of her life. Bad female bandit, surrender and obediently let yourself be captured. We won't hurt you. At most, we'll lock you up in the prison. Yi Jiajia shouted. Like an eagle, she swooped over. A female bandit? What was this stupid younger sister talking about? Who was the female bandit? Did she know that she was beating up her own sister? Yi Mengyao's face turned green. Just as she was hesitating, a group of children pounced on her. Each of them was like a small beast, surrounding her. Bang bang bang. Suddenly, waves of tyrannical energy bombarded her body. It was immediately blocked by the green light emitted from her body, forming an absolute barrier. But even so, because she was afraid of hurting the group of children, Yi Mengyao could not fight back. She was beaten into a very sorry state. She kept retreating and dodging. There's a problem. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. He could immediately see that this masked woman was at a loss when facing the attacks of so many children. Her hands and feet were tied, as if she had a lot of scruples. He guessed that among these children, there must be her relatives. Otherwise, she would not have shown mercy. It was as if she was afraid that she would hurt the group of children even a little bit. But the group of children could not see that Yi Mengyao had a lot of scruples. They only felt very excited, thinking that they were heroes who were about to capture this cruel female bandit. Bad female bandit, I'm going to capture you and hand you over to the native brother. Yi Jiajia screamed and attacked repeatedly. Dozens of green fist marks appeared in the void, condensing into a solid substance with infinite power. Stupid younger sister. Yi Mengyao was half dead with anger. How could she not know that her younger sister and the group of children must have been deceived by this despicable liar? They thought they were bandits in the virtual world, and fought as if they were virtual characters. That was why they worked so hard and showed no mercy. She wanted to scream. I'm your older sister, and you want to capture me and hand me over to this liar? What are you thinking in that little head of yours? How can you sell your sister like this? But she did not want to reveal her identity now, in case she caused some unnecessary trouble. Wu Wudi, you despicable person. You actually let a group of children fight for you. Do you have no shame? Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. She blamed everything on Xia Ping. If it was not for this damned liar, she would not have fallen into such a predicament. Female bandit, you have done many evil deeds and are guilty of heinous crimes. There is no need to say more. If you obediently surrender now and strive for leniency, the consequences will be very serious. Xia Ping shouted. He was very calm and composed to let this evil female bandit surrender quickly. Yes, bad female bandit, if you surrender now, I won't bully you, seeing that you look a little like my sister. Yi Jiajia also nodded and hit her. She felt that she had seen this masked female bandit somewhere before, and there was an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Dream on, Wu Wudi. Today you will die without a doubt. Yi Mengyao was so angry that her whole body was trembling. This bastard was the one who complained first. He was clearly the real villain, a big liar, but he was slandering them as bandits. He was simply shameless. Her pure, kind sister had been fooled by this big liar. If she did not expose this shameless true face today and destroy him, what would happen in the future? Moreover, if she really surrendered, she did not know what kind of treatment she would receive. She could not do such a stupid thing even if she was beaten to death. Shadow Shift. Chapter 984. What? Yi Mengyao had just escaped from the group of children when she suddenly realized that Xia Ping had caught up to her. He was like a Kun Peng, flapping his wings at an extremely fast speed. Xia Ping did not hesitate. He threw a punch that contained a terrifying spiral force. The punch landed squarely on Yi Mengyao's body, but Yi Mengyao's protective divine power automatically activated. A layer of green barrier surged out, trying to block Xia Ping's fist force. There was no doubt that the green barrier's defense was extremely strong. There were runes flowing in it, as if it had merged with the power of heaven and earth. Ordinary attacks were nothing more than tickles to the green barrier. It could even absorb a portion of the attack power and reflect it. This was an extremely powerful protective skill of the elves, comparable to an indestructible body. How is this possible? Yi Mengyao was shocked. She had thought that with her protective divine power, she could easily block Wu Wudi's punch, but she soon realized that this was simply wishful thinking. From her abdomen, a terrifying spiral energy immediately came out and instantly penetrated her green barrier. Like glass, it shattered into pieces with a cracking sound. The terrifying force penetrated her body, producing an extremely strong explosive force. It was like a missile exploding around her abdomen. Boom! Just like that, she was sent flying for 2 to 3 kilometers before smashing through a small mountain in the distance. The entire mountain suffered an extremely strong impact, and the mountain was shattered into pieces, causing the earth to tremble. With a puff, Yi Mengyao could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. But from the depths of her body, a green energy immediately surged out, devouring the chi of heaven and earth. It quickly expelled the spiral force, and the injuries on her body quickly healed. She recovered so quickly. What kind of power is this? Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He used his mental power to sense the mysterious girl's physical condition. She had suffered a lot of injuries, but after a few breaths, she had recovered to her original state. This was not an illusion, but something that really happened in front of him. Country bumpkin. Seeing Wu Wudi's shocked expression, Yi Mengyao was very proud. This was the Fairy Clan's supreme divine art, Azure the Arch divine art. This was one of the supreme wood element techniques. Upon reaching great accomplishment, one would be able to cultivate the Azure the Arch physique, and one would be able to control the power of the wood element. No matter how severe one's injuries were, one would be able to recover swiftly. It could be said to be an undying body. Even though it was only at the initial success stage, it could still speed up her recovery. In addition, she was the holy maiden of the Fairy Clan and was a natural child of wood. She could recover her body's strength by devouring the world's vital energy and wood energy. It could be said that as long as she wasn't killed in one move, she would be able to continue fighting. Moreover, she would be able to recover from her injuries as she fought. She was practically invincible. Don't think that you can defeat me in close combat. Even if it's a battle of fists and kicks, you're still no match for me. Yi Mengyao coldly snorted. She suddenly flew out from the rubble and pounced towards Xia Ping. Unique skill, Qing Thearka's silk hand. Suddenly, tens of thousands of astral energy appeared in the air. These astral energy were condensed to the extreme, turning into threads like steel needles. They interweaved into a large net, covering the sky and covering the earth, and enveloping Xia Ping. Once these sharp steel wires covered Xia Ping's body, he would probably be cut into countless pieces in an instant. These steel wires contained destructive power that even titanium alloy metal couldn't withstand. They could be said to be divine weapons that could cut through iron like mud. Can't you kill me? There is no existence in this world that can't be killed. Since you're a piece of wood, then come and have a taste of the power of fire. Xia Ping was unmoved and punched the air. Saint-level fist technique, Sun God Fist. Rumble, this punch was like the arrival of the sun god. A great sun emitted endless brilliance, and waves of heat rolled, as if in an instant, the water within a radius of tens of kilometers was evaporated. With Xia Ping's body as the center, the temperature immediately rose by hundreds and thousands of degrees. Such a high temperature would instantly burn the enemy even if they weren't close. At this moment, the dense green steel wires in the air were instantly incinerated by the terrible heat, evaporating into water vapor, turning into wisps of green smoke, and disappearing from this world. What kind of fist technique is this? Yi Mengyao was shocked. She felt as if she had turned into ice and snow at this moment. It was as if she was about to be melted by this endless heat. She couldn't resist at all. Her hair, skin, flesh, and even bones all had a feeling that they were about to melt. It was as if her entire body was about to be vaporized in this world. This is definitely not an ordinary fist technique. It's a saint-level technique. Where did this damned liar come from? Yi Mingyao's face was very solemn. This fist technique could be said to be the nemesis of the elves. The terrifying power of fire was extremely effective against the power of the wood element. The opponent had the energy of destruction, while the wood element was the energy of life. It could be said that this kid was born to be the nemesis of the elves like her. She couldn't even use 70% of her strength. She felt the heat rolling around her, and the circulation of the power in her body had a feeling of stagnation. Dong. Chapter 985. At this moment, Yi Mengyao also discovered her current appearance. In an instant, her pretty face suddenly turned red, just like a tomato. This was the first time she had appeared in front of a strange man like this. For the saintess of the elf clan, it was a great humiliation for her pure body to be exposed in front of a strange man. If word got out, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Perhaps all the youths of the elf clan would be furious. Boom. In an instant, she activated the Azure the Arch-Divine Art and condensed her earth energy. Immediately, the green earth energy transformed into a piece of clothing that covered her body, covering the important parts so that this bastard could no longer see. But even so, she still felt a little cold without any clothes on her body, making her feel as if she was standing in front of a man without any clothes on at all. So it's a girl from the elf clan. Xia Ping looked at the mysterious girl's ears with interest. He immediately knew that it was a characteristic of the elf clan. Moreover, he also realized that this girl was very familiar with someone he knew. It was obviously the little lowly Yi Jiajia, and it was an enlarged version. The mature version of Yi Jiajia had already grown up, the kind that could eat. You must be Yi Jiajia's relative. No wonder I keep feeling like I've seen you somewhere before. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Yi Mengyao. I didn't expect you to have such a hobby, taking off your clothes at the slightest disagreements. Bullshit, who would have such a hobby? Yi Mengyao was half dead with anger. Her pretty face was red, and her eyes were filled with murderous intent. If it wasn't for this bastard, she wouldn't have fallen into such a predicament and been taken advantage of by this bastard. She couldn't wait to immediately capture this Wu-Woody and beat him up for 3 days and 3 nights. Don't deny it. Who doesn't have a hobby? Of course, your hobby is a little strange. Xia Ping looked as if he had seen through Yi Mingyao's true colors. But this kind of thing can only be seen by me. Don't let others see it. Otherwise, you'll be a fickle woman. If you were on our planet, you'd be caught and drowned in a pig cage. Shut up. Yi Mengyao couldn't stand this bastard's big mouth any longer. She slapped with her palm, displaying a strong palm force. In the void, a solid palm print appeared with infinite power. Xia Ping didn't even look at it. He just stood where he was and ran the Dark North body protecting art. He blocked the palm at once and was unscathed. He didn't even move a step. Just now, Yi Mengyao had been hit by his palm, and her strength had been reduced by more than half. She was far from her peak state, so even if he stood still, Yi Mengyao would not be able to hurt him at all. Damn it. Seeing that her palm was useless, Yi Mengyao was very angry, but she also knew that her strength had been reduced a lot, and there was nothing she could do to this shameless person. At the same time, she was also very angry. If she could show her true strength instead of staying in this novice village and being restricted to the level of a grandmaster, she would have smashed this bastard into countless pieces long ago. It's useless. You're no match for me. Continuing is futile. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Why don't we stop, have some tea, and chat? We can think about the major events of our lives in the future, such as what our children's names will be in the future, and which planet they will live on in the future. He wanted to talk to Yi Mengyao about something important in life. Shut up. Who will have children with you? Don't even think about it. Yi Mingyao's pretty face turned red. This bastard Wu Wudi was really shameless. They had just met, and he already wanted to have children with her. He even wanted to settle on a planet with good education. Even love at first sight would not be so fast. This is not up to you. According to the tradition of our planet, if you see a girl you like, knock her out and drag her back to your cave, then you can get married. What's done can't be undone. This is recognized by the law of the planet. You'd better come to my side obediently and stop struggling. Xia Ping said loudly, indicating that knocking out a girl he liked and taking her away was a legally recognized tradition. Shameless native. Yi Mengyao was half dead with anger. What kind of planet's tradition was this? He even dared to say that it was recognized by the law. Only ignorant, uncivilized primitive people would have such shameless behavior. In a civilized society, this was against the law. Sure enough, this bastard came from some indigenous planet. He came from an uncivilized society. His entire brain was made of paste, otherwise, how could he do such a thing? Boom. But at this moment, Xia Ping made his move. With lightning speed he pounced over. The wings on his back vibrated, rolling up the air. An ordinary person would not be able to react in time. But Yi Mengyao was obviously not an ordinary person. Her divine sense was extremely sharp, and her reaction speed was lightning fast. Almost in an instant, she noticed Xia Ping's movements and reacted in time. She raised her jade-like hand, which emitted a green light, and slapped out. It contained divine power. The fist and palm collided, and instantly there was a shocking impact. The energy vibrated like dozens of volcanoes erupting, or meteorites hitting the earth. The surrounding small mountains were shaken to the point of collapse, and gravel flew in all directions. Trees were uprooted and thrown into the air, exploding into fine powder in midair. Damn it. Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. She was sent flying by this force, and she retreated 2 to 3 kilometers. At the same time, this guy's punches and kicks contained terrifying strange flames, burning every corner of her body. In just a few breaths, a part of her earth energy was burned. The clothes that were originally formed from earth energy were now more than half destroyed, revealing her flawless white body. What a beast! Yi Mingyao's pretty face was red. Any woman who fought with this bastard would have to worry about losing their innocence. If this continued, she might really fall into the hands of this native. Once she fell into the hands of this native, she did not dare to believe what would happen to her. Maybe the rice would really be cooked. Even though this was a virtual world and not the real world, the feeling was the same. Run. Yi Mengyao did not say anything else. She immediately turned around and left. She decided to temporarily retreat and regroup. Today was probably not a good day to make a move on this bastard. She had completely remembered today's events. There would always be a time when this native would be unlucky. Ultimate art, shadow shift. With a swoosh, her figure flickered. It was as if she had traveled through space. In an instant, she was more than 10 kilometers away from where she was, and in an instant, she was out of Xia Ping's range of pursuit. So fast. Xia Ping originally wanted to chase after her and capture her, but her speed was so fast that he was caught unprepared. Even if he wanted to catch up, it was too late. Chapter 986. Xia Ping returned to his original spot. By this time, the surrounding mercenaries had been wiped out by a group of children. All of them were sent back to their homes. Not a single one was left. Native brother, where's that female bandit? The little lowly Yijia blinked her eyes. Many children also looked at Xia Ping. Xia Ping said casually, she escaped, but it doesn't matter. She was alone anyway. In short, we wiped out this group of bandits. It's our victory. Yes, we won. Ha, those stupid bandits were no match for us at all. At first, they had more people. I thought we would lose. I didn't expect to win. Don't you see how powerful we are? We are super experts who are invincible in the world. Jia, did you see how powerful I was just now? I defeated that bad bandit with one punch. The group of children was proud, feeling that they had won a battle. They were like legendary heroes who had defeated evil enemies and obtained a great victory. They felt happier than ever because they had never experienced such a situation where they were outnumbered. This game of wiping out bandits was much more fun than going to school. Oh no. A child's expression changed. My dad found out that I skipped class. He's calling me now. He found that his communicator was constantly ringing. The person calling him was clearly his dad. It's over. My mom also found out that we skipped class. How could this be? My sister also called and said that she's coming to school to teach me a lesson. Hurry up and go back. Otherwise, we'll be completely finished tonight. We'll definitely be beaten Pigu. Sorry, native brother, we have to run. Many children found that their communicators were constantly ringing with messages. It was a series of life-threatening calls. It seemed that the news of them skipping class had immediately been found out by their parents. The parents were all furious. They had learned to skip class at such a young age. If they did not immediately correct it, what would happen when they grew up? Would they learn bad things and become space pirates? Xia Ping knew that this was inevitable. The mercenaries would definitely report this matter to their employer when they left the virtual world. Then, the matter of these children skipping class would also be exposed. In order to avoid their own mistakes, these mercenaries even pushed the blame for this matter to the group of children. They said that if not for this group of children, they would have already killed Wu Wudi. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The group of children were as fast as lightning. They were flustered and immediately ran towards the novice village. They wanted to quickly go offline, or else their angry parents would teach them a lesson. In just a few breaths, they disappeared on the spot. They didn't care about the large pile of gold and silver treasures left on the ground. These were the treasures left behind by the mercenaries. We've struck it rich this time. Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately stored the treasures on the ground into his storage space. He roughly estimated that these treasures alone were worth 25 million universe credits, which was a huge sum of money. In addition to the money he got from the group of children, he had 49 million universe credits on him, which was close to 50 million. Although he was still a distance away from 1 billion universe credits, there was no doubt that he was moving towards this goal step by step. If something like this happened a few more times, it wouldn't be particularly difficult to accumulate 1 billion universe dollars. There are quite a few shadow thunder bombs. This is a good one-time treasure. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He also found 50 shadow thunder bombs among these treasures. Through the previous battle, he knew that the shadow thunder bomb was a powerful one-time treasure. With such a secret treasure, It could often change the situation of the battle and give him a huge advantage. Moreover, such a treasure was very valuable. Sometimes, even money might not be able to buy it. Unfortunately, Xia Ping was unable to find any prized artifacts among the pile of treasures. He did not know if the mercenaries had deliberately chosen not to bring any prized artifacts with them or if prized artifacts were so expensive that not everyone possessed one. After checking all the treasures, Xia Ping walked towards the novice village. After an hour, he returned to the novice village. At this time, the group of children had already gone offline and returned to the real world. He didn't particularly care. He went directly to the martial arts school and saw the novice village chief. He said directly, "I have eliminated the mountain bandit One-Eyed Wolf and completed the mission." The white-bearded old man stroked his grizzled beard and said, "Not bad, not bad. Thank you for your help, little friend. You've gotten rid of a great calamity for our village. The heavens really have eyes to send a young hero like you to our village. You're welcome. Where's the reward?" Xia Ping blinked his eyes. He didn't want polite words, but a reward. "Don't worry. The reward is here." The white-bearded old man waved his hand and immediately there were 3 talismans in his hand. Xia Ping asked curiously, "What is this?" "This is a small teleportation talisman." The white-bearded old man smiled slightly. "As long as you tear a talisman, you can immediately teleport hundreds of kilometers from where you are. No one can catch your trace." "Good stuff." Xia Ping's eyes suddenly lit up. This was simply a trump card. If he encountered great danger, he could use this talisman to quickly escape, and the enemy could only watch from the side. It could be said that with this talisman, it was equivalent to having 3 lives. Although he knew that the reward of this task was very rich, he didn't expect it to be so rich. If other people knew that Xia Ping got such a precious talisman, perhaps all of them would be jealous. Corinne was also taken aback. He knew how difficult it was to get the reward of this martial arts space. Even if he completed the task, he would only get some insignificant treasures. Only by completing extremely difficult tasks would he get the appreciation of this virtual system and be rewarded with precious treasures. "Well, little friend, if there is nothing else, please leave." The white-bearded old man ordered him to leave. Xia Ping nodded. After getting 3 small teleportation talismans, which could be called a life-saving trump card, he was also satisfied. Naturally, there was no reason to continue to stay in this place. Go back. At this time, Xia Ping once again returned to the square of the novice village and directly went offline. His spiritual consciousness suddenly returned to his original body. Immediately, the experience of 7 or 8 days in the virtual world was stuffed into his mind, including fighting experience, learning Yang God Fist, creating Black Vortex Ripple Fist, and other martial arts experience suddenly emerged in the depths of his mind. Rumble, at this moment, Xia Ping felt that his martial arts cultivation had been greatly improved. It was as if he had been greatly honed. The aura in his body resonated with heaven and earth, reaching the realm of unity of man and nature. Chapter 987. Sun God Fist. Xia Ping felt that his soul and body had merged into one, and the martial arts mystery of the Yang God Fist completely burst out in his body. The earth core spirit fire, the sun essence, and the fire of life, the 3 kinds of unusual fires, began to slowly merge under the effect of the Yang God Fist. The 3 kinds of fire spread out from all parts of his body, along his meridians, and finally reached the deepest part of his dantian, forming a strange cycle. Slowly, the 3 kinds of fire merged with each other, as if condensing into a fire seed. This fire seed seemed to be the foundation of the Sun God Fist. It was the Sun God seed, like a black hole, which could devour all the fire in the world and make it its own. It could even remove impurities and purify continuously. Whoosh! The moment the Sun God seed condensed, all 108,000 pores on Xia Ping's body emitted wisps of fire. He seemed to have turned into a huge man of fire. He sat cross-legged on the ground. The fire burned the soil and rocks, as if turning the area into magma. Bang bang bang. The golden crow of hell cells in the depths of Xia Ping's body also began to be refined. Majestic energy surged into every corner of his body, constantly strengthening his bones, skin, meridians, muscles, and other parts of his body. He felt that his strength seemed to have been greatly improved. A golden crow of hell formed in his dantian, roaring at the sky and forming a unique resonance with the world. So strong, Xia Ping felt that he seemed to be evolving toward the golden crow of hell. Every cell in his body was like a small volcano, able to contain a large amount of magma. Any random punch of his could explode with extreme fire energy, destroying everything like a volcanic eruption. When the fire in his body rose to the extreme, it directly rushed into the depths of his mind. A golden soul crystal was also burned by the fire, melted, and condensed into a golden liquid. This soul crystal was obtained from the soul-eating beast. Every time he leveled up, a part of the soul energy would be melted, helping him to improve his soul power. Drip, drip, drip. Immediately, the golden liquid dripped onto Xia Ping's soul, constantly nourishing it. He felt his soul power and mental strength constantly strengthening. The range of Xia Ping's spiritual power had expanded. Originally, it could only sense 20 to 30 kilometers, but after obtaining this soul crystal, a portion of it had melted, causing his soul energy to increase by leaps and bounds. All of a sudden, he was able to sense the area within a radius of 50 kilometers. Furthermore, his perception of danger was even more acute. So hungry! Very quickly, Xia Ping felt his body sending out a signal of hunger. His soul and body complemented each other. Because of the increase in his soul power, his body was extremely hungry. He needed to devour a large amount of energy to make up for the deficit. That's right, I still have a lot of spiritual liquid on me. Xia Ping had obtained a large pool of spirit liquid from the shark demon monarch. Even though he had used a lot of it previously, he still had a pile left. It was enough for him to make up for the deficit in his body. Rumble, as soon as he took out the spirit liquid, his 108,000 pores produced a terrifying suction force. He was like a whale, continuously devouring the surrounding seawater for his own use. Immediately, Xia Ping felt that there was a huge amount of energy in his body. Like a great river, it poured into his 108 meridians, rumbling. These meridians were just like a great river. The water was trembling, and the majestic energy was like a flood dragon, wantonly turning over the rivers and seas in these meridians. When these energies reached the extreme, Xia Ping's body was constantly shaking. One by one, his acupoints were crazily opened, forming lakes as if the world was being created. And these lakes contained the rapidly increasing amount of gang qi, so they would not flood because of too much water. 1, 2, 3. The speed at which Xia Ping broke through the acupoints was simply irresistible. The acupoints in his body were constantly opened, and the gang qi in his body was rapidly increasing. After an hour, 12 acupoints had been broken through in succession, and he had reached the peak of the 7th heaven of Supreme Power Realm. One more step. Xia Ping ran the pure yang immortal technique in one go. There was an inexplicable aura in his body, and a flame vortex formed in the depths of his dantian sea of qi, constantly rotating. Boom! At this moment he directly drove the gang qi to break through the next acupoint at once. The 8th heaven of Supreme Power Realm. Xia Ping immediately knew that he had been promoted to a new realm. He was suddenly enlightened, and his strength and speed were much stronger than before. He was getting closer and closer to the king realm. Is this the gate of the Purple Mansion? Xia Ping's spiritual force penetrated into the depths of the sea of consciousness. When he was at the 7th heaven of Supreme Power Realm, he could only see it roughly, but now he could see it clearly. It was a purple gate, which seemed to be made of bronze. There were many mysterious patterns carved on it, as if they were the rules of heaven and earth, containing incredible power. It was this gate that prevented ordinary people from opening the Purple Mansion. No one knew how many Supreme Power Masters had fallen in this place. He ran his spiritual force and turned it into a huge iron hammer, smashing it hard. Suddenly, an astonishing sound burst out and kept shaking, as if he was striking a Buddhist bell. Even though the gate was shaking more violently than before, it was still as firm as a rock. It seemed that no matter what Xia Ping did, the poison could not break this mysterious gate. Still not enough? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He felt that he was only one step away from breaking through to the Purple Mansion realm, but this step was simply like a natural chasm. Because of his deep martial arts foundation, his obstacles were stronger than ordinary martial artists. This gate was also more solid and more difficult to break. But once he succeeded, he could open up a wider Purple Mansion that could accommodate more magic power. After entering the King realm, magic power was the real foundation of a cultivator's strength. The more magic power one possessed, the more powerful the cultivator was. If I advance to the 9th heaven of Supreme Power Realm, perhaps I can try to break through to the King realm and open up the Purple Mansion. Xia Ping clenched his fists, revealing a glimmer of light, showing his incomparable confidence. He sat down cross-legged, closed his eyes, and continued to absorb the energy of the spiritual liquid. He felt that his breakthrough was not over yet, and he could continue to open up a few more acupoints to strengthen the Gang Qi in his body. This would also be of great benefit to the next trip to the secret realm. Chapter 988. When the news of the mercenaries being wiped out came one after another, it immediately shocked the upper echelons of the major families. They could not believe this fact. Are you kidding me? Are these mercenaries trash? 200 people, at least 200 people. You're telling me that they were all wiped out, and not a single one of them was left alive. In the end, not even a single hair on that kid's head was hurt. If this isn't a joke, then what is? A family elder cursed. He felt that this group of mercenaries was simply trash. He felt that those were 200 people, 200 living people. They were a group of murderers who lived on the edge of a knife, not 200 pieces of wood. How could they be annihilated by this brat alone? Not a single one of them survived. If he had not seen with his own eyes that this group of mercenaries had been kicked out of the virtual network, he would not have believed such a thing. It was a little like the biggest joke of the year. Damn it, we gave them so much money just to deal with a scammer. They were still here bragging about how easy it was to capture them, but now they've been captured by that scammer. Did they get things the wrong way? This group of mercenaries is not very capable, but they talk big. They brag all day long. Can't they do something useful? It's too exaggerated. I think there's something wrong with this group of mercenaries. Is there a spy among them? Otherwise, they must have been bribed by that scammer in advance. Otherwise, how could more than 200 people be wiped out? Even cutting grass can't be that fast. Tell us the truth. Did you take money from that scammer Wu Wudi? Many family elders stared at this group of mercenaries fiercely. They were filled with murderous intent. Some people suspected that these mercenaries had taken money from both sides. They were fence-sitters, planning to take advantage of both sides. That was why such an absurd thing had happened now. It made countless people's jaws drop. How could we take money? Don't try to frame us as you can. We are a group of people with professional ethics. You can insult our strength, but you can't insult our character. Some mercenaries were immediately dissatisfied. So what if we insult you? 200 of you were killed by a scammer, and you didn't even hurt a hair on that scammer's head. You're still fucking proud. Don't you have any shame and self-esteem as a cultivator? A family elder jumped up and pointed at their noses. He did not give this group of mercenaries any face. This is not a crime. That's right, it's not our fault. It's all your fault for not disciplining your children properly. You let your family's children enter the virtual world. In the end, they were captured by that kid and used as his shield and hostage. That's why we were so restrained. That's right. If it weren't for your family's children staying there as hostages, we would have killed him with a few punches and kicks. How would we have given him the chance to kill us? It's all your fault. If you didn't look down on your own family members and cause trouble at the critical moment, how could we have failed our mission? Many of the mercenaries felt that they had been wronged. They thought that it wasn't that the group of children had appeared for no reason, and that they had been tricked by that brat and had become his hostages. They would not restrain themselves in battle, but in a moment of carelessness, they were destroyed by that swindler, Wu Wudi. It was all the fault of these families. Don't try to shirk responsibility here. Even if we had hostages, we wouldn't have been completely wiped out like you guys. Noobs are noobs, don't deny it. A family elder sneered. A mercenary flew into a rage and was very unconvinced. You say you're invincible, but you're powerless. If you have the guts, try and see if you can defeat that Wu Wudi. I reckon you'll be destroyed before you can even get close to that kid. You can only brag here. If you really go in, you'll die faster than us. He had fought with Xia Ping before, so he naturally knew what a terrifying enemy he was. Putting aside that kid's character and all kinds of tricks, just Wu Wudi's martial strength alone was extraordinary. It was not something that ordinary people could compare to. With so many mercenaries, it was impossible to find someone who could fight this kid one-on-one. He had mastered a saint-level martial art and was already invincible among his peers. Therefore, he did not believe that these big families would perform much better than them when dealing with that kid in the novice village. They would definitely be killed by Wu Wudi in a second. The other mercenaries nodded in agreement. Recalling what had happened just now, they were knowledgeable and naturally knew how terrifying Wu Wudi's martial strength was. That kid might really live up to his name. Both sides kept arguing and were in a stalemate. They pushed the blame onto each other. The big families naturally thought that this was the mercenaries' incompetence that caused such a result. However, many mercenaries thought that this was the fault of the big families. If the group of children had not run around and become Wu Wudi's hostages, this would definitely not have happened. In short, both sides kept arguing and arguing. In the end, a mercenary said helplessly, "In short, that kid is really not simple. He can be said to be invincible among his peers. I don't know what kind of power he has mastered. All of us combined are not his match. If we want to deal with him, we can only wait until he leaves the novice village." He expressed that no matter how much money they gave him, he would not deal with Wu Wudi in the novice village. This was not dealing with him at all, but sending him to his death. The other mercenaries had the same thought. The people from the big families all gritted their teeth. They did not expect that a small liar would make them behave like this. It was simply the greatest humiliation. However, they could not catch that kid, so they could only stare at him. At this time, Yi Mengyao also left the virtual world. She contacted many of her close friends in the group to ask about this matter. They wanted to know the outcome and whether the shameless liar was killed. "I didn't kill him." Yi Mengyao was very helpless. "What? Why didn't you kill him?" "That's right. With your strength, Mengyao, wouldn't it be easy to catch a liar?" "That's right. Even if he suppressed his cultivation, he should still be invincible among his peers." "Don't tell me you were lenient because you like that liar." Many of her close friends were extremely shocked. They did not understand what had happened. Yi Mingyao's pretty face turned red. Not only did she not kill that kid, but she was also almost killed by that damned liar. He even wanted to capture her and cook the rice. He wanted to ruin her innocence. "Don't talk nonsense. It's not like that." Yi Mengyao felt that she could not tell the truth even if she was beaten to death. Otherwise, she did not know what her close friends would say. She must bury this secret forever. She said that she could not defeat that kid because that shameless liar had captured her sister and used her as a shield, forcing her to be cautious and restrained. That was why such a thing had happened. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.